Hello, and welcome to Revamped, a rewatch podcast that revisits my top favorite shows and movies. I'm your host, Brandon Alexander, joined by my co-host,
Courtney Autumn.
Venture with us as we set our sights on the infamous Hellmouth to cover 90s cult classic, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Follow along from the beginning, spoiler-free, as Courtney views the show for the first time and I revisit the series for new takes and a fresh perspective on its narrative.
Each season, every episode, in order, we will follow Buffy Summers and her friends to examine their character development, the show's underlying themes, along with its major story arcs, all while engaging in conversations, sharing our own authentic thoughts and feelings to what's unfolding before us.
So sharpen your stakes, load your crossbows, and join us as we explore the supernatural world of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Let's get into the episode. Happy New Year! Yes, because it's the new year. Happy New Year. That's for real how we're starting this, because it's the new year. It's officially 2026 when this episode airs. So welcome to 2026 and the finale of season 3 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It will be? When is this episode coming out? Oh, you said January 2nd.
Yes, which is the new year. What'd you guys do for Christmas? What'd you guys do for New Year's? Did you kiss your love partners? Did you... I was trying to think of something.
Who did you kiss at midnight?
I was trying to think about people that have kissed on the show besides like Buffy and Angel and like Willow and Xander, Willow and Oz, and everyone else, Spike and Drusilla. I have no clue what's going on. Anyways, welcome back to the season 3 finale. Obviously, today we're covering and finishing up season 3. I'm gonna say season 3 8 more times. No, I'm just kidding. Today we're clearly wrapping up Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 3, episode 22. Graduation Day Part 2. Aired originally July 13th, 1999. Written and directed by Joss Whedon, because he did both parts. You like how I reeled all that back in? I was like, I'm messing up. I'm going crazy. And then I was like, bring it back. Bring it back to life. Rule number 6,000. This is what I get for smoking the joint before the session. All right, in this season finale, the actual season finale, the Part 2. After a failed attempt to cure Angel with Faith's blood, Buffy makes the call to save him herself. Both recovered, and Faith now in a coma, the gang discovers the mayor's plan is to ascend into a giant snake demon during their actual graduation ceremony. Buffy puts a plan in motion that unites the entire senior class to stand against him, giving us an explosive epic finale showdown and a fitting send-off to our Scoobies as they close the chapter on high school hell. I like the fact that I put the word explosive in there because, you know, the explosions, it's literally, it's literal. It's an explosive epic finale showdown.
It's literally and figuratively.
Listen, so we watched this episode 3 weeks ago now before we recorded this, maybe a month almost, which is kind of crazy. Do you even remember it?
I do.
Are you sure? You're like, who's Faith?
It's hard. I feel like, yeah,
Faith,
exactly right.
Faith
at this
Lane.
point. Yeah, no, definitely. This one's a hard one to forget. Yum.
I'm sipping that tea. You guys, I might be eating during this episode, so. And the cat feeder will go off soon, just so you know. Yeah.
It's like our mascot at this point.
It is. But I'm excited because we've now made it to the end of season 3. Holy fuck. I know season 1 was so easy to get through. It was 12 episodes. But then getting through season 2 was a journey. And it was the full 22 because you were kind of low-key dreading it. And you were like, wait, how many does this season have? It took you a good 6 times me telling you this 22. And you were like, hoping that it was going to change to 15 and then down to 12. And you were going to be like, this only has 8 like the new shows nowadays, right? And I was like, no. But insane, it just wiped right by. I'm surprised. I think it's a little bit because we were ahead and they've been kind of airing as we're still working and we've been kind of on the grind, but now we get to take a little bit of break after this and all of that. I was obviously, as we said last episode, letting everyone know when we're coming back, March 13th, 2026, aka a few weeks from now. Not really, but and we're going to be covering Angels. This is so exciting. Yeah, so obviously this episode's really fucking cool. You know, I have always loved every bit of this 2-part finale, as we talked about last episode. And I'm trying to pull it back in my mind because it's been now a good week and a half since we recorded part 1 with Chris. This concludes our journey across the entirety of season 3. This kind of brings everything that happened last episode to front and center. we get some crazy stuff kind of going on, some very unexpected things, I would say. Like, even some of this still kind of shocks me, primarily being like the Buffy and Angel opening sequence. Like, I did not expect that to be what happened when I originally watched. I was like, wait, this bitch about to die? Like, he's gonna actually kill her? You know, what's happening? Like,
Oh
I
my
don't really
God, I know.
understand. Like, insane. But that is like one of my favorite scenes across the episode, just because other than the master, which we've kind of talked about before, and I'll definitely bring up again later, so I'm not going to say this exactly the same way I want to say it then whenever we're talking about it, but now Buffy has been like drank on the show twice, and for Angel to do it is like insane, you know, like, but I love it because everything that it stands for, the fact that we get to watch this, like, you come in like, oh, I feel like I gotta talk about it then. I just gotta shut the fuck up is what I gotta do. What I can actually talk about though, the ending was like a shock that I didn't see coming the original time like I watched this, and to see the stunt that they pulled, like, I didn't see that coming at all. Like, I knew that what was happening in the episode. I saw them, like, you know, delivering stuff, doing this, that, and the other, and I'm like, okay, well, clearly they're telling a few people, like, Jonathan knows, Larry knows, Harmony knows, Percy knows. Or are they just going to be behind the sidelines? Is it going to be a small group of people? No, it's a whole fucking wave. It's the entire senior class. So, like, I did not know that was going to happen. I was wondering why them students stuck around for so long while the parents and everybody else, the faculty's fleeing from the fucking chairs when what happens. I'm all acting like it's going to be a spoiler territory. Courtney, you don't know what happens. If you know about a big snake, you don't know. Pretend you don't. No, for real. But to see all these people like stand up against this, that's like, it was just so cool. I don't know. I love community, and I love the collective energy of people kind of standing as a wave together to take care of something or show up for kind of each other and stuff. So I really like watching it from the lens of now and how I reflect in that way, like loving a sense of community, even though I basically only have 2 friends nowadays. But, you know, I'm going to pretend this was 3 years ago when I actually had a nice group of people. I'll get the rest of them one day. No, I like a sense of community. I like, you know, even just like with my Reiki stuff, I get to go tune in with these people and kind of, you know, be on that frequency with them and like commune, be able to talk about all these things and, you know, all that. But I relate that so much to this, just the fact that you can like everybody, I don't know, whenever you have a cause to fight for, it's nice when a bunch of people come forward together and say, hey, you know, this might not, especially in this situation, this might be dangerous, but we're going to like put forth the effort to say like, hell, you know, we don't want the town to get overrun with a fucking snake. You say a big snake demon's by, we already know we talked about it in the prom, all this crazy shit be happening on this damn show, and all these people are now, we know that they're not wearing blinders anymore. They all know that we know that they know about what we knew that they know now. You know, had to bring that one back because it's been a while since we did that. But for them to like show up and actually do it, that's super cool. And it was a fun twist I didn't see coming, and it was very rewarding to see the way that they unveiled it too, and Buffy be the one to call the shots on that. Obviously I know we'll talk about it later and stuff like that for sure. The way to go. I don't know what the fuck I wrote here. That's crazy.
Were you drunk when you did your notes?
A little bit, apparently. Coming off that Addy.
A little tapsy.
I mean, I guess I already said all that. I just kind of like ate it through really quickly. Let's see if I can like form this back into a nice like cognitive thought. That also being said though, I do think it's funny because I was thinking about it when I was writing this stuff down, and I was like, you know, talking about nobody wants the town to get overrun by this big snake, so they have a just cause to show up and say like, oh, if he's gonna, you know, start killing everybody once he's done with the high school, he's probably gonna start moving house to house and gobbling bitches up. It's kind of funny because what if the military were to like find out about this? You know, obviously the town probably has military in some way, shape, or form. That's where it happened with Xander, and we saw that they went got a rocket launcher unless they drove a town over. Don't really know how all that went down, but I was like, once they caught wind, the military, the government, however that works out, police departments, then the chain of network begins. Once they got wind of that, they, you know, they're coming in with like their tanks and like all kinds of other stuff. I mean, I know that what happens and all the explosives that they use on the mayor works in this theme, but I'm like, what if like tanks and like fucking nukes, or like they like, honestly, this day and time, like something like that happens that they can't quote unquote control, and like gunfire isn't gonna just kill him or anything like that, even though he can be killed. I mean, I don't know, 7 million rounds of like 400 fucking sergeants shooting this mother into his ass, I'm pretty sure that would kill him, because you know he's not impervious to harm once he's in the demon thing anymore. But I was like sitting there laughing about it. I was like, all you need is like them people to show up, or fucking the military to catch wind of it, and then be like, all right, we're gonna nuke Sunnydale. So they just drive like a fucking plane and drop like the whole town's gone, because they're gonna be like, well, if this thing gets out, You know what I mean? Like that's
That's
there.
true.
Then it's gonna start like doing this around other places if they couldn't stop it, because that's usually how it happens in movies and stuff. The military tries,
What do
they
you
get fought
mean? They
back.
would just do it to also kill everyone in the town because then no one could talk about it and they could keep it under
That
wraps.
see, there's that too. I don't know, but
Mm.
thankfully we don't have to worry about the military on this show. So, um, that was a funny thought though. But like also on his like whole plan though too, I was like afterwards though, if the military was not an option, I was like, what's he gonna do? Quietly rule the town and expect the rest of the world to just like be okay with that? He's just
I
they'd be
know,
like, did y'all
yeah.
know a big snake is like chilling around in Sunnydale, California? Like he's
And
just
then I wonder what other like places would do out of the fear that he was coming there.
that's
You
what
know
I'm
what I mean?
thinking. Was he gonna move town to town? I don't know. I was just
Yeah,
like,
I have a lot of questions about that.
that's what I'm saying. And this is kind of part of my question. It's more of a rhetorical
Not that
one
it's
for you.
relevant in the plot line, obviously, because
At all.
R.I.P. But like, yeah, no, I don't know. That's like that. I have a lot of questions about like what was your intention, and if you're gonna just gobble everything up and eat it, then if you're gonna eventually run out.
Mm-hmm. Something. I don't.
So even if you ate the whole world, then what? You're gonna be the only living thing.
Listen, our king just wanted to ascend. He didn't care what was going to happen afterwards. I'm here for
I
it.
don't think he thought it through even.
Listen, my next part of my note says that shit was crazy. I like the dramatics of it though.
Yes.
Some other things I did want to know, obviously, because I'm going to save a lot of it really just for the walkthrough, but I do like how no one died that was pivotal. And that kind of leads me into my question. Like I wrote initially, I was like, did you think that anybody like going into the finale that they would be like on the chopping block potentially, just because we didn't really see anybody important die? Like, last season we had Jenny Calendar as like our big.
Do you want to know my
best.
honest thought process?
Obviously.
I didn't until, and I don't know why this stood out to me as an opposite day situation, but I didn't even think about it really. Like, I don't think it even a thought occurred to me that like any of the Scoobies could go, or like anyone that were like we see daily or anything like that. But when the mayor had the conversation with Snyder and basically almost promised him something and was like, you're going to be repaid or whatever the fuck he said, something, you know what I'm talking about. Even though he was basically saying like, even though it would elude the audience to think that that is a veil of protection for Snyder, like the mayor saying your debt is going to be repaid in full or whatever.
You just get this like ominous vibe.
I
that
instantly got this
you ain't getting paid.
ironic feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I got an ironic feeling, and I was like, it would be weird if they just killed Snyder off in the end. Like, that is what I thought. That's literally what I thought. So I didn't really think about it until obviously the episode before this one.
Mm-hmm.
But the only person I did maybe have an intuitive feeling might be on the chopping block was Snyder. So it was ironic.
So like basically while we were unfolding, watching the episode, that's when you were starting to have that epiphany and thinking about that as we continued to watch.
Like, and maybe not even an epiphany, like I felt sure about it, but it was just this feeling like, that scene stood out to me, and I was like, oh, it'd be really funny if like he was the first one to go or something, and then he wasn't the first one technically, but he was one of the first. So
no, for real. I mean, that is true. I didn't even think about him. I mean, and he's not a main cast member. Of course, I was like meaning like for the broader spectrum. Not that you didn't answer correctly, but like Buffy, Willow, Xander, Cordelia.
Yeah, no,
Wesley,
I didn't see any of them.
Angel, any of that. I didn't either the first time watching it. I just felt like they all made it out. This, like I was saying, I think last episode, maybe it got in the recording. I can't remember, but I know I made a comment, I think to you and Chris, or at least just to you, saying that like somebody was saying on a review that I read that they were watching it thinking maybe Xander was going to die because of the way he was talking, like at the beginning of part 1 and stuff.
You did say that. Yeah.
So like thinking back on it, I was like, oh, I could kind of see that they're putting it out there to be a potential, or like letting you know, like in case it does happen.
Yeah, I guess you could in a premonition kind of way if Xander was talking from that perspective, kind of like in a weird, like darker, cynical sense. But I don't know. I felt like because it's graduation, that if one of the core cast was killed off or something like that, it's already such a pivotal moment in life for them that I almost think it would be like, not that this show isn't really good at breaking your fucking heart, but I think it would almost be like it would almost be unrepairable if they killed someone like Willow or Xander or someone off like right now, because I feel
Xander.
like
No, they could do that. He ain't no Steve Harrington.
you think that, but I feel like if they came back for the next season and
He
one
was
of
just
those
not there.
poor people was gone, and you
Yeah.
know, and I know what you're saying, like someone we've been with from season 1 on, you know, because even
Mm-hmm.
though Faith is like kind of, you know, core at
We
the
were all okay
moment,
if she died low-key.
let's
After all
be
the shit she
honest.
did. We expected it. We
Yeah.
thought Buffy was going to kill her or something was going to happen. I mean, every season a Slayer has to die. Last season we had Kendra. Season 1 we had Buffy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically,
Yeah.
they, without actually killing her, they kind of basically did that with Faith this season. They had another
Well,
Slayer
and
get
now I
severely
have so
injured.
many questions about that because I'm like, she's not really technically dead. So do they send for a new Slayer?
No.
Or how does it work
I'll
now?
say that now. No, she's still the
Oh,
Slayer.
okay.
But we'll have some stuff that'll connect because of that question here in a little bit, because I got some fun
Mm.
stuff for you. Because remember, I told you some fun things whenever we were watching it. Anyways,
Yes.
I don't know where that high pitched crazy me that was just coming in came from, but here I was, here I be. Yeah, but like that's what I made a note about, because I was like, you know, 2 of our main members of the senior class do die. You know, they meet their demise, and I was like, damn, I didn't really expect that. But obviously the faculty member too as well, like that being Snyder and all that stuff, which was so funny. But like the whole thing, the whole sequence, like towards the end, the final battle, I'll call it, this finale battle, more so because that, to me, I attribute a final battle to be like the final one. It's done after that. But this is the one for the season. The whole thing is really cool. Like, I like the fights. I like the fact that we get explosions. It's like over the top. Like, you know, the regular kids, these regular ass kids are fighting vampires and like running against the wave, but tackling a big old fucking, like, I don't know. It's just a whole thing. And I remember Joss Whedon like made a comment in the commentary, and he made a quote literally that was like, you got to have flaming arrows. And that's one of my favorite elements, like, of the whole like fight between everybody. Like, I love watching Angel and stuff like that, which I like jack off to later. I love like some of the other stuff that's going down while other stuff is happening. A couple of key moments for characters and stuff as well. But like, I agree with Joss. As soon as the motherfuckers raise up flaming arrows, I'm just like, fucking flaming arrows in this bitch, and they hit the vampires and kill them. Like, this is cool. So you know, it's really awesome.
It was really cool. Yeah.
The only other couple little things I really have to say is like, I like how much the damn knife, I didn't really, you know it, but you don't pay it that much attention, I guess, truly, until you're analyzing it in a weird way, because it's just in one ear and out the other, and then you kind of continue on with the show, especially if you're binge watching it. But like, Faith's knife came in handy numerous amounts of times. Like, it was helping her chop people's hands up, it was helping her kill spiders, and then now it's over here getting stabbed up in her gut, and then now Buffy going and getting it, and she over here using that to taunt the mayor with it. Like, you know, I was just like, damn,
She
I
was
was like,
so savage. Oh god.
I didn't expect to see that damn knife so much. I'm like, it was a whole damn main cast member itself. But
I know.
And then I also had to comment, obviously, like, I will forever love the fact that Buffy calls the mayor a dick after badgering him. Like, that's such a Buffy thing to do. Like, obviously, it's, you know, like a what do they call that whenever something has like kind of 2 meanings? She's calling him like a dick, kind of like a
Like an oxymoron.
Yes, yeah, I guess maybe that would be a good term for it.
But I know Dick is short for Richard.
Well, there's that too. Holy shit, they call him Dick because his name is Richard. All right, great. I don't know what's happening. I love you. I know this is all over the place. I really like the send-off that we get here in the finale. It feels like the perfect way to end the high school chapter. It brings us, not even us, like a lot of things full circle that we've experienced the last few years. And we blow up the school, like I said, you know, that's crazy. It doesn't get any better than that, honestly. It's like the final goodbye. Like, you can't return to high school if it's no longer there. Like, I don't know what's happening. All these other students must be getting driven to another high school somewhere nearby. The people that were in 8th grade being like, well, damn, I was supposed to go to high school next year. Like,
they're getting homeschooled.
That's another plot hole question. I'm just really confused about.
Yeah, after now, the parents are like, y'all ain't going outside or doing nothing
at all. Yeah, but like, this episode ends on a perfect note, and the closing scene, the last moment, you feel like it sets you up for a new future with our characters, for the town, and the show in general. You get a sense of like, this is ended. Something's ended. It's not just, and it kind of goes into that finale thing, not even like, a pun on words finale, because it does the finale. When we were talking about graduation and going on to the next level, going on to new things and new experiences, and some things getting left behind, whether that be relationships and unfamiliarity and all this other stuff, it really does play a key role here in that. And they really do seal that up. And especially like someone like me watching it to do for the podcast, and I already know what comes there for after, I'm like, damn, I can really, really see that now, how it makes you feel that. Let's see. We made it through all the key moments that I kind of wanted to initially get through, like that I was most excited about, like Faith coming on the show and this whole arc, season 2's Angelus arc and stuff. Like those are the pivotal stuff to me. That's why, those ones kind of teeter totter with like favoritism in my list that alternates all the time. But I'm kind of sad that we made it through these moments, and I feel like I've said that, but the first 3 seasons are just like, it's the baby of Buffy. And now we move on to like the middle child before we get to like the full on adult aspect of like living. And I'm really excited now, I think, because I was mourning it a little bit. I'll say it that way. And now I feel like more excited to move us into the future of the show, because there's still so much good stuff to look forward to. Like now I'm just basically hoping we can get through season 4 like tomorrow, so that way we can move on to season 5, my actual favorite season of Buffy, like, yeah. Oh no, it's a whole thing. But yeah. What did you think of the episode?
I like you. I love all the aspects of it, and the utter chaos made it so much better, as it tends to do. But just the fact that it's graduation day and somehow you don't lose those emotions within all the chaos that's happening. You still very much understand that there's like an ending at place, and of course you don't know for a while if it's going to be the ending of everyone's life or if it's going to be just the ending of a chapter like high school. And yeah, it still did a really good job at the end, like you're saying, just kind of leaving that sense of departure where you have a moment with, or you try to have a moment like Oz did, with reflecting on surviving high school, and it's 4 years of your life. And it's I think one of those chapters for everyone that is a little bit difficult to get through. So the fact that they still kind of tied that in and made that feel so relatable, that moment, was top tier in a way. And yeah, I loved it. It was so much adventure, and like you're saying, I even think I put in my like one of that Slade moments is the highlight of everyone coming together. Like the whole student body is basically hiding weapons and they're ready for battle on their own fucking graduation day, where like, a lot of them could have been bent out of shape and been like, why me, woe is me, and had a fucking tantrum about it, but they all like put their best foot forward and were like, fuck that, and did the best they could to like handle something. I'm sure half of them were like, what the fuck is even happening today, because I wouldn't even know how to process that information if someone pulled me to the side and was like, hey, so today I need you to hide this weapon underneath your cap and gown, and when I say go, we're gonna break into war because the mayor is gonna fucking escape his own body and turn into a 100-foot demon that's gonna eat us all. How do you process that? Oh, and by the way, happy graduation day. Hopefully they don't lose your diploma in the thick of all this. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't even know. So, yeah. And like you're saying, it leaves you with that really, really kind of bittersweet sense of you're excited to see where everyone's going to go, like as a whole and individually, into the unknown of whatever that may be for everyone. So it leaves you with a sense of excitement as a viewer, especially as, a newbie, because I don't know what's going to happen. And that's exciting for me because they didn't leave it off in an ending that was so like, they could have killed someone off or they could have made it more heartbreaking. They did a really good job ending it in a way where you're just like, okay, cool, like everyone's good-ish, they're probably traumatized, but a summer's worth of therapy will do wonders, and hopefully we'll see where everyone's going.
A Buffy summer's worth of therapy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what's next, but I had fun with this episode. It was great.
Yeah, it's a good 2-parter. I like when they do this at the end of the season too, and they do like a part 1 and part 2, because we didn't really get that with the first season. Spoiler alert: we don't get that with next season. We really don't get part 1 and part 2 like at all the rest of the time. This is kind of the last I mean, I think there might be some kind of energy of part 1 and part 2 still out there, kind of like how we've done stuff, but not like something that's entitled the same name back to back.
And like
You know?
to be continued and mirrored with the same name.
Except one more time. And I don't feel like that's a bad spoiler to say, but that's season 6. Season 6 opens, which is interesting because we usually close a chapter with a part 1 and part 2. That season opens with a part 1 and part 2.
I see.
Super cool. But yeah. About the episode, David Fury, he's the executive showrunner, I do believe, at this time. He eventually left after the season, I think, and he went on to like I think he wrote some episodes too, but he moved over to work on Angel after this season ended. But he quoted on ending season 3, he said there were a couple of missteps, but overall that he thought season 3 was great. It introduced Faith, who was a phenomenal character, and the mayor was great, and I was happy to be a part of it. We also knew it was going to be the last season of high school, which was going to throw the show into a whole new direction when we got into season 4. And it's a very different dynamic in college than in high school. And Joss first sold the show as high school is hell. Everybody gets that. And that was the perfect allegory, but college doesn't hold that kind of weight. And that's the important thing to note, because this concludes the high school years. And as I've been saying the last couple of episodes, his quote is in, by the way, this is me talking. The show after this is going to be so much different, because we will all be able to explore more adult themes. Because when you go away to college, you step into more of that space and time in life, you know? You explore, you expand, you re-examine a lot, you experiment, you know what I mean? Everything was initially immature that we've witnessed so far, very adolescent, and it was more like the growing pains of the show, and now it's really found its footing, and we're stepping away from that adolescence and really moving into adulthood now, which is, as we've always said, kind of like the overall theme of what Buffy is trying to conceptualize to people and like tell the story of like how you a coming of age, true, like the different milestones we all hit in life on the road to adulthood. And it's obviously especially our heroine Buffy Summers. So that was when I read that little quote, because I'd forgotten about it. I was like, damn, it's like, look at this, since we're gonna go to college next. I'm so excited about that. And I love how like they put that too, like the experimentation. I'm so ready for these themes to come up, because I'm already like whatever. But let's seal the deal on this episode, because I'm ready to just get the fuck. There goes the cat feeder. Look at it.
Right on cue.
I said cue the cat feeder, and it said meow, meow, meow. No, actually, if it's a cat, it says meow, 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 meow. I did it early. There you go. Look at you guys. You get it twice this episode. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the episode.
Let's.
Right back where we ended, Buffy lets go of Faith's bloodied knife. I wrote bloodied with Faith's blood knife. Because, you know, it's bloodied with Faith's blood. Christoph Beck's soft, saddened score plays as Buffy takes in the weight of what she's done and what this means. She exits the rooftop by a side ladder as we pan up to the broken window her and Faith smashed through earlier to see the mayor peering out of it. I don't understand how the mayor did not see Buffy. Like, I know he's kind of walking up to the frame of it, but I'm like, clearly this blonde ass bitch with red leather pants is walking across the damn roof to get to the side of this thing. Like, how did you not catch her eye? She was right there on the ledge. Like, how did you not even see Faith fall off? Because apparently this is 5 seconds later. I don't plot holes. I'm like, boy, calm down. But regardless, once again, though, it's kind of like one of those shots where she's kind of exiting and she's down below him, though, when he's standing up high. So once again, peering over, you know what I mean? Peering over the town as well, because he's up so high. I was like, I see what everybody's doing. The vampire that's in the studio with him speaks to him how there's no sign of Faith, and the mayor viciously lashes out at them before muttering to himself, visually upset and nervous about what this means for her, and unsure, honestly, about what it means for him as well.
Put everyone on it. Do it now. But sir, the Ascension... Find them! Faith's a good girl. She can take anything they'll throw at her. She's gonna be all right. She'll be all right. She'll be all right.
Clocking that, because he screams, he's like, find them, and not only just Faith, he's like them, he's like, we're gonna get Buffy too, like I got some things to say about her later, actually, is what he said. But then like he kind of nervously starts talking to himself. He's like, she'll be all right, and it's not, he doesn't feel very convinced by what he's saying. You can tell he's nervous. in that fact.
Well, and the way he screams also would indicate that he's not in control of his emotions. You know, he's like very reactive.
And when
So
it comes to
obviously
Faith,
freaking out.
yeah, and like by the end of the episode, we see. Well, I mean, we've kind of felt this connection between him and Faith, but the way he screams and yells out, we get why Faith tells Buffy later what his weakness is going to be. So it's kind of interesting to put it here, him yelling and getting like having this outburst, and it's letting us know that like he's going to be very sensitive when it comes to the fact of Faith, and we're seeing that a lot differently, I guess, because of this, because he's kind of, like I said, I mean, he is worried about her. I really do genuinely think he's worried about her, but now that Chris kind of said what he said last episode about like him using Faith more for like her power and the gains that he can get from her more than anything, whatever his wording was, now the mayor in my mindset is like, oh fuck, there goes my muscle and safety net. Now I have to do this without Faith. I don't have this person to kind of even out the score when it comes to the Slayer. So now I might be more vulnerable instead of invulnerable, you know, like, kind of this interesting thing. But what we did forget to do is fade to black and cue the Buffy theme. Back at the school opening up, we're not opening anything. We're opening Christmas presents because it's Christmas time. Amends. At the school, Xander brings in Giles and his horrible coffee, confused with why Giles is even having coffee since the Brits drink tea.
Tea is soothing. I wish to be tense. Okay, but you're destroying a perfectly good cultural stereotype here.
It's one of my favorite like moments in this fucking episode. The two research more on what kind of demon the mayor could possibly soon embody as Courtney comes in to bitch at Giles about what's happened with Wesley and how he's upset speaking to leaving the country. Giles has no problems with what occurred. Like, I don't remember exactly what he says now in the moment, but he just like kind of like sits back and he's like, in your point? Like, cool. Like, of course Cordelia is coming here to defend this motherfucker, but I was like, damn, Giles said unaffected. He said, my name is Courtney and Wesley can be Angel. Bye. But Cordy is there just to get some clarity on what's going on, and Giles fills in the blanks that I guess Wesley didn't even tell her, because he states how Buffy's quit the council, and she's like, but Wesley's her watcher, and she's like, well, Buffy no longer needs a watcher. And I'm like, okay, yes, makes sense, sure. Like now she's kind of filled in, but I'm like, did Wesley not tell you on the phone as to why he was upset?
I know.
Like what? Like did
like
you?
What?
This didn't provide any more context clues or like context.
I didn't think that she was going to be the last one to find out on that one.
It's upsetting because we know Buffy's the one that knows how to connect dots. Apparently, not Cordelia. Either way, Buffy doesn't need a watcher anymore, and since Giles still hangs around like a big old loser after getting fired from the council, Cordy doesn't really understand why Wesley wouldn't do the same. Like, of course she has to slip in a little dig. Xander then interrupts Cordy to tell her what's going on with the Ascension and how she should shut up about Wesley and help them research. She does take a seat to do so and claims how this is such a Buffy thing to do, aka
she's always thinking of herself.
That comment is so fucking funny because of the pot kettle vibes right there. Like,
exactly.
I'm like, what, bitch? You're always self-centered, thinking about yourself. You remember what we bitched about, mostly me, whenever she was like unaffected by the fact that Willow had apparently become a vampire, and she's just like, "You want to go grab dinner, Wesley?" She's like, "I study best in a nice restaurant, 8-ish." No, Cordelia.
Didn't she just do it last episode when Xander was like trying to tell her that they were basically gonna die on graduation day, and she's like, "Are you skipping fifth period or whatever the fuck she said?" I'm just like, of course.
Over the top of the head. She's like, "That's great. Anyways, do you want to not go to class?" I thought it was funny though, because I wrote like, also I was like, we know this to be untrue about Buffy because she's literally always thinking about others, because she's like, Buffy's always thinking of herself. I was like, literally she's on her way to go like save Angel. Like Angel is on her mind, if anything. Of course,
literally she's about to sacrifice herself to Angel, basically, and like, no, she's taking a huge damn risk. Not to mention she's the Slayer, so how many of your asses do you think she's actually saved thinking about y'all and not her? Bye.
Yep, my favorite Courtney quote. Well, since Buffy's going to go save Angel, we go over to Angel's mansion, where he lies still struggling with his unlife, being tended to by Willow. And here's the part we mentioned last episode, where he goes into awkwardly grabbing Willow's hand and telling her that he was wrong to ever want to leave her and how he needs her. And she is so very quick to pull her hand back from his and be like,
"You mean you need Buffy?" "Yes, right, Willow."
Where is she?
back soon.
It's just so funny. Like, I was like, this is how the show keeps it kind of light and comical in these times, as per usual. Like, 100%. Like, I like her little hand pat on his too. Whenever she lets his hand go, she's like, "You mean Buffy?" Like, just pat him like it's okay, like dead. But she leaves him to check in with Oz, and it gets funnier because she talks about how Angel's a bit delirious right now and tells him about the situation that she was just in. And Oz literally goes, "You too, huh?"
I love him.
I have like the longest trail of ha 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 ha. Like, I honestly think it would have been so much more preferred to see Oz's version of this versus like the scene with Willow. I want to see Oz in there and this happen to him, and him come out and say the reverse version of this, like come out to Willow and be like, "He just said this," and then she be like, "You too, huh?" Like, it's funnier obviously for Oz as, you know, his one quick little 3 words that he says, "You too, huh?" That is delivered perfectly by someone like Oz. So it makes sense why this was this way. I mean, Oz has blonde hair, so maybe he thought Buffy went and got a haircut before she brought Faith back. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, his hair is blonde right now. So, like, Willow's a redhead. Like, that bitch does not look like fucking, I don't know what's going on. Willow and him share a kiss as she expresses feeling very bad about how she's been having a great old day, but poor Buffy and Angel aren't seeming to be, and she feels guilty of this. And, you know, I love it how they are making out, and Buffy comes in interrupting their kissing, and she like derails it. She's like,
"We were checking on him.
We just checked on him. I promise. I just walked out the room 100%." But Buffy doesn't even pay attention because she's too busy looking at the floor because this bitch is glum as fuck. As they realize that she's faithless, she relieves them of their watch duty so she can be alone with him, and she appears pained as Willow offers that they'll try to go find another cure. Everyone knowing, though, that this is not in the cards. Now, by Angel's side, and him realizing it's actually Buffy this time, expressing how he didn't want to go without seeing her, she silences him before telling him that she can cure him. He's already come to terms, though, with the fact that he's going to be not unalive anymore, and she informs he has to live on, removing her jacket, exposing her neck, and telling him to drink her. He gets out of bed denying her this option, especially once she admits that she tried to, you know, get Faith but has killed her. And this kind of hit, like, I've never paid this attention before, but she says, "I tried, I killed her." I was like, okay, no you didn't, but also you don't know that actually yet. You haven't went to the hospital. You don't know if it, you know what I mean? So by this,
I was thinking the
that's
same
why Buffy
thing.
walks in the door looking so upset. It's not just because of what she has to do with Angel now and what decisions she's come up with. It's the fact that she just left from killing somebody. And if anything, her like sister slayer, like that's insane. I did not even think about that. I was like, damn, this mindset, like she really thinks like Faith's on that truck dead right now. I was like, I never took that in before. That should amaze me. I mean, I just kind of bypassed it because I know like we're about to have this whole sex scene between them. So I was like, cool. He does stumble out into the main room, voicing then it's over for him. And I was like, he's quick to be like, it's curtains for me. She chases him down, hollering, "It's never over." So dramatic. Like, she's like, "It's never over." Like dead. And again, how she won't let him die and to drink her. He won't, and she succumbs to punching him a few times. That very last blow bringing forth his vampire face as she pulls her shirt to the side, grabbing his head and pushing it to her throat. The music, like Christoph Beck obviously had to have his little score up in here. So cool. There's this little like cue. It's like a weird chime that comes through when she pulls her fucking shirt to the side. And it's just like this visual meets cinematic musical cue. And it's very like ominous, suspenseful driven and sound. And I'm just like, oh, that's so great. And then the fact when she puts his head to her throat, like the music kind of kicks in and kind of has this rumble to it. And literally the sound you just made is what you made when you were watching it. Because as soon as he looks down, hovering over there, he glances down at her neck, and we see his like crazy ass colored yellow eyes. His instincts kick in, and he pulls her up into his teeth and begins to feed. We slow pan around the two now with all this music going on, all the extra, the cinematics are just cinematicking, and they collapse to the floor together, and he takes in more of her. She grows weaker, letting out grunts of pain as she crushes that metal pot that's by her side. As he takes her last drop and she feels her essence leaving her body, she brings her leg up to his side, most definitely achieving an orgasm with this lustful bite, I will say, because you heard her moan whenever she kicks that shit. Like, that bitch came in her fucking red pants. Got to take them to the dry cleaners. Got to take them to April Fool's, get some new pants. I'm like, I gotta make jokes in this serious ass scene. But it's like her final burst of power comes out of her too with this moment. And when she kicks her leg, she fucking kicks his damn coffee table and it splits immediately into two halves and slings across the room. And then she just lays there, you know, her eyes falling shut because he's basically draining her of the last little bits of her blood, except the one little ounce that's going to keep her alive. And he collapses beside her, almost a lifeless body, calling out to her, realizing what he has done.
So crazy.
What did you think of this scene?
You're torn initially, I think, on her choice because you know how risky it is for her to be doing that for so many different reasons, because there's so many different outcomes that could happen here. But most importantly, the outcome of her dying is now very present. And at the moment, I was terrified because I was just like, how does Angel also not... How does he know when to stop when he's not himself? You know, because as we've seen, like, he's known for taking shit too far when he's not himself. So it's kind of like you have that greater risk almost present because of that, you know. And to see where it ends up is great, but you still get the sense of you're not mad at him, I don't think, you know? Like, I didn't feel mad at him, but you do feel kind of worried for, like, just for Buffy in general, because you don't know if she's going to be the same when she's better or if she survives this. But also, like, how do you mentally recover from something like that, whether that was your choice or not? Like, yeah, you did the right thing in the sense of saving him, and that's obviously was her motive and her goal, but it came at such a large risk. And to see her in the hospital, and then what happened at the hospital...
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, it's just a lot of shit transpires, you know, just from her kind of being unable to defend herself, much less anyone else. So I think when we have that at large, it's just like when that whole episode where she spent the entire time in the hospital, you know, when you have her in this vulnerable state and you're not used to that, and she's kind of the glue that usually holds everything together, then you get an additional layer of worry for the whole entire episode when you already know what's coming, and you're just like, what the fuck? How are we going to do this
I'm just
now?
now realizing this is a whole another episode. Buffy gets put in the hospital again.
Yeah.
When she's vulnerable. Like, it's very interesting. Kind of like...
Yeah, and it's at the worst time ever. Not that any of the times are great, but it's like literally the worst time ever. You know, like quite literally the worst we've seen so far. So
yeah, for real.
And even
like,
though like you were making
displays.
it, even though you were kind of like making a joke about it or making light of it in the situation, there did seem such a like sexual tone to what was happening, and it does kind of, it makes you wonder things, you know, like, well, if this is happening to you, like if you were to get bit by a vampire, is it like ecstasy or something, you know? Is it
Clearly,
like
yes.
so not at all painful like it looks, you know, like from the outsider's point of view, we're sitting here
Not for
traumatized
her.
for Buffy. Yeah.
Like, I don't think
But
it's that way for your average person getting like drinking in an alleyway by a vampire that's just trying to have his meal for the night. But I think that in this case, and we're going to talk about in a second, kind of like in vampire lore in general, like Anne Rice, like the books, the like whole folklore around vampires in general. I think for Buffy to be taken by Angel this way, it is a seductive experience for her. And I think that's why that's why I say there's something mixed with this, because the way she's taking it in, she's like letting him do it. She's feeling her, like all this whole thing, like the whole scene plays out. Prophecy Girls calls it bite sex. Like, this was bite sex to Buffy. They finally got to have sex without him achieving happiness. Like, I'm surprised he didn't finally have the most delicious blood he's ever had in his life and go ahead and lose that damn little pesky soul he likes to lose. So I don't really know. But I'm going to tell that in kind of where you were going with it, which is nice because your gears are already kind of like trying to turn and make sense of that in that way. I wrote, like, obviously the scene is very good in my eyes. Like, as I was saying, kind of like as I was reading out what was happening, like, I love the displays of Buffy's power, how this bitch absolutely finds this shit erotic. I about said ironic. It is ironic, but it's erotic. And I'm dead certain that she has an orgasm when she kicks that table. But the way it's shot, the fact that Angel is finally feeding from Buffy, something that we felt as a long time coming since season 1. Think about it, like Angel is being told by Darla in his self-titled episode in season 1 that he should go kill her because she's out there trying to hunt him. Like, she found out you're a vampire, you know, do what you were born to do type thing. Go kill this bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And he did go there to kill her at the Bronze. Now, obviously, we know he killed Darla. Angel. Whole thing. But we also go to a men's, and the first, in the guise of Jenny, is taunting Angel, let alone this season, to take her. You know you want her. Claiming that he knew he wanted to do it. At the end of that episode, he's like, I want you so badly. I want to take comfort in you. I want to do all these things, and I know it'll cost me my soul. And here we all get to see that play out, and it weaves so perfectly into their story and their arc throughout the series. Obviously, to elaborate further on what you were talking about, like, let's take notice that Angel is the second vampire to ever drink from Buffy, as I was starting to say, after the Master. And while the Master's bite didn't carry this exact meaning that we're about to get into or effect, we have talked before back in our Prophecy Girl coverage about the hypnotic thrall that a vampire can hold over a human, you know, because we talked about him hypnotizing Buffy, him bringing and drawing her in. We kind of see that with Dracula and his victims. If you've ever seen Interview with a Vampire, like the bitch, I can't remember her name right now, maybe it's Lily or something like that, Daisy, I don't know, fucking some flower. She's the redhead girl that's got the garments. I don't know if you've ever watched the actual Bram Stoker's yeah, talking about
I have.
Stoker.
It's been a really long time.
But there's that whole scene with, like, when he's the wolf in the courtyard with her, and, like, you know, she's just like I want to get fucked basically the whole fucking movie. She's laying in the bed talking about pound me up and shit with your blood and all this other shit. Like, it's wild. But what we really didn't elaborate on then is how, when we think about a vampire feeding from a human more broadly, it's meant to mirror erotic intimacy without consent and seduction as a loss of control. The bite itself mirrors sex. It's penetration, it's exchange of fluids, it's vulnerability, it's surrender. All of those elements are right there. All those words also show sex. And apart from the horror of, like, death / being fed on, what makes it unsettling is the power imbalance actually in the dynamic. Not here specifically, but like desire being mixed with danger, like wanting it and fearing it at the same time. That's typical vampire lore, because usually he's like drawing them in, and almost like Dracula himself wants them to make the choice to come to him and to let him feed on them. He just doesn't do it. He sees intimacy in it. It's not like, like I said, these run-of-the-mill vampires that just eat you because they need to drink. You're their Chick-fil-A for the night. Like, you know what I mean? Or more appropriate for this show, you're their Subway for tonight. But that's often how that lore goes, you know, novels, film, media in general. What I very much found fascinating here is that the show flips the dynamic, and Buffy offers herself to Angel and forces him to drink from her in order to save his life. And in most vampire stories, the situations, like whatever, what have you, the vampire targets the human who can't fully consent. And here Buffy is the one initiating it, and Angel is the one resisting. So it's kind of a weird, interesting flip on the script of like how this normally goes down. It's the human saying, no, you're going to drink me. Like, that usually doesn't fucking happen.
Yeah, that's true.
And I thought it was such an interesting thing. And then, like, it kind of goes back to consent in general. Like, Angel's like, nah, I'm not going to do this. And she like basically pounds it fucking out of him to bring, you know, the vampire to the surface. Because, I mean, I don't know about you, but if I was a vampire and some bitch was punching me in the face, I'm probably going to vamp out and beat her ass too. Like, I don't care who you are. You'd have met the wrong one today. But the act itself, like I said, still kind of carries intimacy. It carries danger, violation of the boundaries. The power has shifted in this dynamic, and Buffy takes control of that moment. And even at a greater personal cost, Angel's survival comes from crossing a line that he desperately does not want to cross. And that's very important because it creates a direct callback to what the mayor has said to him. And this moment essentially seals the fate of Buffy and Angel's relationship, because it reinforces everything that the mayor warned them about in Choices whenever he was directly telling Angel, you know, I don't sense a lasting relationship between the two of you. There's a bumpy road ahead. That any moment of true happiness will turn you evil. And ultimately ask the question that hangs over all of this: what kind of life can you actually offer her? He even calls Angel selfish to seal all that out with, before he's like, you know, is that what you came back from hell for? All this other stuff. Just moments earlier, before Buffy relieved Oz and Willow of their duty, Angel is telling Willow, thinking that it's Buffy, that I'm wrong. Like, I was stupid to like try to leave you. I don't want to actually do this anymore. Like, I'm going to stick around, you know, whatever. Like, maybe we can make this work kind of energy. But what happens next torments this motherfucker into an entirely different way of thinking about his path with her. Being forced to drink from Buffy even like to save his life, becomes the thing that finally breaks whatever illusion he had left. Like, this is the moment that forces Angel to seal the deal, not because he stops loving Buffy, but it's because he understands in a way nothing about this relationship can ever be normal or safe. So he like really resonates exactly with what the mayor said. And we know this because we watched it play out again and again, especially from mid-season 2 to now. Like, no matter the reason the act still happened, he crossed a line that for him is very unspeakable. And that changes everything, how like he sees himself, how he sees Buffy, and what their future could possibly look like. And it's the final nail in the coffin of their relationship. No pun intended there, you know? Like, I sat down and thought about that. I was like, holy shit, like, that's exactly what reinforces this for him and says, like, actually, I'm going to leave. Because I really didn't think about that. I kind of in ways have, but I've never really assessed it as a, like, you know, enough to write a lot of shit about it and take notes for it. But you're really viewing it, I'm like, damn, that's why he like goes back and like says I'm actually going to fucking leave later on in the episode, like, just so you know. Because he didn't tell that to Buffy, thankfully. He was delusional, fucking imagining Willow was Buffy. But fucking wild. It's something crazy to consider. Like, that's what did it for them. And they had to figure a way to clean it up, and it's so smart that they used this as his like way to say, oh no, I definitely need to get the fuck away from her, because he was having like those thoughts, like backtracking on everything that he was trying to say. And then initially last episode, we had this whole dramatic thing unfold with him, like that big trope I was talking about where he's hurt, he's sick, he's frail, he might die, like Buffy's gonna save him, then they're gonna get back together and like love ever after, like everlasting, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like, no, can't be that. So kind of is what it is. But I thought that was interesting that you kind of brought up the themes of sex and like the intimacy, the orgasm and stuff.
It's not something I ever really thought of before, because I think in all the other scenes that we see that are so quickly compiled together to tell a story of like how vampires ruthlessly or relentlessly, or, you know, like you were saying, for their Chick-fil-A meal, for their dinner kill,
Subway.
So it's like
eat
when
fresh, drink fresh.
Drink fresh. When we're seeing it from a different perspective, and we're seeing it from the sense of, like you're saying, that it could be erotic, that there is a sexual kind of tone to it, it almost makes you wonder, like, not just what Buffy was feeling as far as like her physical reaction to it, but what kind of mental journey do you go on? You know what I mean? Like, how aware are you still as that's happening? Do you lose all sense of reality before you lose consciousness? Like, all these things, because it seems so purely like removed from this world, or out of this world almost. Is kind of like they did a good job making you feel like, as scary of a moment as this is, Buffy might die.
Yeah.
You kind of feel like, are you enjoying this?
Buffy's kind of stupid though. Like, if I know you didn't expect me to say that. Like, I'm sorry. Like, don't people pretend I never said that, because this is, you know, my favorite show and my favorite person, my heroine. My heroine is stupid. You're the Slayer in charge. Faith's not like active at this point. You think she's dead. So you think your solution is to go. Buffy has this weird blind trust, I guess, is what I'll chalk it up to, is to say that it's okay. But she's stupid, because you're going to go offer yourself to Angel. You know that they have to drain the blood of a Slayer. That means you have no blood in your body. That means you cannot live. Blood is life. Yeah. So you're going to go kill yourself so Angel, a vampire who's dead, can continue to live. So you can be dramatic and like, I won't let you die. Like, it goes back to when Xander like seeing Buffy in the Zeppo with Angel, and how they dramatize everything, and it's over the top with these two. Like, it's like, Buffy, this is Sarah, why did you choose to act like this? Like, no, calm down. That's just funny as fuck though. When you really think about it in that way, I'm like, why did you choose to do this? What was your game plan? Did you just like have hopes for this? But, you know, thankfully, obviously she does cure Angel, and he takes her to the hospital, and it all works out. And I think that's maybe, like I'm going to eat back on some of my words. In retrospect, Buffy kind of almost senses, I think, sometimes that things are just going to work out. Just like the same thing with Willow, saving her in choices. Like saying, we're going to give the mayor back his box, and we're going to get Willow back, because I'm not going to bargain with that. She's like, we'll find another way, even though Wesley was like, there is no other way. Well, clearly they all found another way, because that's how the finale takes place this episode.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole thing.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I can't tell if, I guess whenever like the stakes are this high, is probably going to increase your liability and making, like you're saying, kind of what seems like a stupid choice in hindsight when everything's worked out.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, you're probably just acting on so much emotional. You're trying to be logical, but you're also kind of like, what does it matter? I'm sure in her head, like, she's probably like, what does it matter? Like, what if she was like, if I die, I die.
I just feel like
You know,
that choice is kind of negligent. She had to have kind of felt like something would turn out good, but otherwise, I don't know what she was thinking.
but she's also so selfless, like we were saying in the beginning when we were comparing the irony of the statement that Cordelia was making. You know, it's kind of like she's literally the opposite of self-absorbed or selfish. So maybe it is just it's kind of like her flaw.
Cordelia
You know,
was
you
kind of right. Like, essentially, like, but Buffy's, I mean, well, she is being selfless, but her act is selfish because she's going to take the world and the fact that all her friends need to have her to help fight this big battle.
That's
And she's like,
true.
I'm just going to peace out. Like,
That is kind of a good point.
that's why I'm trying to give her
Yeah.
the up hand on it and say 50-50. Like, 50% of her was like, maybe I can come back from this. 50% is like, whatever.
Yeah,
I
and
won't
like
be
you
here.
just said, they've always found a solution to a problem that they deemed impossible earlier on, you know? So maybe it is just the
I don't
sense
know.
of knowing that, like, what if I risk it, then they'll figure it out.
Is it crazy when people say risk it? I always think for the biscuit.
Risk it for the
Think about it
biscuit.
though. Buffy technically, and I'm forgetting about this because I don't have it all written down in front of me. She's standing in front of the fire with him at the fucking space, and he's like, it'll kill you or whatever. She's like, not if you don't take it all. Like, so maybe she was counting on him to like stop in time, so that way she still had something like so this.
Hell yeah,
So
she was
I
counting
forgot
on
she
it.
said that. So maybe that is like she had a little bit of hesitation there, but she was like, well, we got to do this.
But
It's the
how
only
would you
way.
still
Like,
know that that's going to even work? Like, then I would be afraid that the rules are the rules, and it says drain the blood of a Slayer.
drain. That
And
means
now,
gone.
it may be that if you don't drain me and you leave me with a little to keep me alive, that you're gonna fucking die
You're
anyway,
not
and then I'm
cured.
still in the hospital.
Yep. Like, because that cure basically says you have to lick the blood off your teeth as well, swish around with some water, then drink that. And if you don't
You
do
have
that,
to open her insides up and like lick the insides.
yep, you have to clean the skin. Yep,
You have to clean the bone.
exactly.
Everything.
Okay. Anyways, I'm thinking we should move the fuck on because I will sit here all day and freak the fuck out on this. Like, we're gonna let bygones be bygones though and move along because obviously everything works out. Whatever. The last thing I did want to say for my final takeaway of this scene is Buffy and Angel have both now essentially killed one another in the exact same spot, one season apart from the other, because she stood in the same spot and stuck the sword through him, killed him with a Cathla and sent him to hell, and now he just killed her in the same spot, technically.
That's crazy.
Wild. A now cured Angel rushes Buffy in his arms into Sunnydale Hospital, calling out for help, explaining the situation to doctors and nurses. The doctor is more focused on whether or not they've been doing drugs, because Angel tears the door handle off, appearing to be a fiend, as he grunts for the doctor to just help drug-free Buffy. Love that thing too. Prophecy Girls has this whole thing where they're like, are you on drugs? Dead. I'll send them the clip when I was like making the script, and Steph replied and was like, the disappointment in his face, talking about the doctor. I was like, yes, true, because he's really stressed and he really wants to know why they're on drugs. He is kind of like a crackhead bringing his friend that just like took too much heroin in the door, like, crazy. Angel moves to call the gang to get them there as we pan over to the neighboring room where Faith lies in a hospital bed as the mayor is being told by a separate doctor on how she suffered from her injuries and is in a coma that they doubt she'll ever wake up from. Talk about a trope. The nurse from Buffy's room, though, comes in to tell the doctor of the other girl that they have in suffering from major blood loss, and the mayor gets the vibes on who that is, which kind of makes sense. I mean, like, the mayor puts this together real quick, but like, it's crazy because he's talking about a girl suffering from blood loss has come in. Like, it's not uncommon for this town, but he's like, oh shit, Faith's up in here in the hospital now. She done went like, he gets the common sense in his mind to be like, this bitch just fucking fed herself to her man. Like, wild, you know what I mean? He's like, that's gotta be that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
He moves over into Buffy's room though and attempts to smother her with his hand, and I will never forget the little like your face, and like I have a clip of it. I did not expect you to react the way you were doing. You were actually acting like he was about to kill her ass, and I'm like, Courtney, come on, like what the fuck? But I think also you kind of like carried the energy of being like, damn, Buffy can't catch a break this episode.
It wasn't even just that. It was the fact that he was I don't know, because the mayor's going on and on and on and fucking on about his ascension and eating everyone and whatever. So to see him go up to Buffy with bare hands in such regular old human form and like just try to choke her fucking ass out almost seemed like a pussy, because I'm like, you're gonna do this now when she's in a coma? For real?
He a bitch.
For real?
He couldn't take her on any other time.
Exactly. So I'm just like, you look like a pussy, and that was really my main thing. But it was shocking to me because
nervous too, yeah. Not like
I was nervous,
her,
but it was also like the audacity of him doing it in the hospital room where there's like people traversing outside in the hallway. The nurse and the doctors are in and out. Yes, he's visibly the mayor. So I'm just like, I don't know. That was a lot. That was audacious.
Audacious. The special, it's the 𝐄𝐩𝐢 of audacity. Either way, Angel thankfully catches him and quickly tosses him across the room after the mayor calls Buffy Angel's whore. Such a fucking line. Like, I'm like, it did not age well. Like, talking about you and your whore. I'm like, okay, well, what do you really think of Buffy, sir? The mayor diffuses, though, the public chaos because he's like, oh, wait, everybody just witnessed all this. And he goes to leave and he taunts Angel about how he will soon be rising to power. And Angel comments, obviously, to himself as he mutters away. He's like, I'll be there. I'm like, oh, God, what is this like? I'll be there for you. Dead. Okay, so obviously, question, what do you think about Faith being in a coma?
I don't like that there's wiggle room for her to come back.
Ooh, interesting. I like that reply.
Yeah, I don't like that. But other than that, it works out well for this episode.
Yeah, she's out. It's curtains for her.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it simple there because, we got some Slayer predictions to do for the season 3 wrap up. Later, the gang arrive asking how Buffy is. Angel letting them know she's going to be fine. Also letting them know he is and how Buffy cured him. And how Buffy put Faith in a coma. He really had to make it. He had to make that known. Xander comments, of course, how he saved his own ass by feeding off the girl who loves him. Angel takes that in as Giles tells Angel to go and how they'll take over. And he doesn't want to go, but Giles firmly reminds him with a piercing look, very, very pointed piercing look, how the sun will be up soon. Like, he snaps back at him. He's like, the sun will be up soon. Like, he's like, you need to get the fuck out of here.
I know.
I was like, ugh. And then Angel kind of like obviously puts his brooding puppy dog face on and leaves. Xander again voicing, of course, sarcastically, how he's so going to miss Angel once he's gone. I'm like, ugh. I'm not in a bad way. I mean, it is what it is. And it makes sense. But this is my whole thing. Like, this scene sucks because Buffy literally made Angel drink her. He had no choice. And they don't have context
exactly
at this moment that that's what happened. And I get it wasn't ideal.
I really felt bad for him.
Seriously, though, like, you have to. And then he got fucking Xander. Like, I just know he wants to punch him again like he did 4 episodes ago. So the whole thing. But, like, it ended up working out. So it really shouldn't matter. Full circle, full spectrum, whatever. But, of course, we got to get one last Xander hates Angel spew in there before he leaves the show for good. Because that's been Xander's shtick the whole time. He's got to say something negative about Angel. And I'm not, like, hating on it. I get the stance when you don't have all that info of what exactly went down. Because Giles is just as upset. He tells him, it's just not the case of what the actual situation is.
You would hope that as your closest friends and as Giles, that they would know her well enough to be so selfless that Angel would obviously put up a fight and not volunteer that idea as a great one and not just go for her neck right away. You know what I mean? Like, he definitely fought her on it. Yeah, he didn't like run up to her and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna drink you now." Like, he was fighting with her and he was arguing, and they both had their points and they both made their speeches about it and whatever. And she is known to be very resourceful, so much so that we don't often see her not get her way.
The ultimate
you know what
resource.
I mean? Exactly. So I'm
Herself.
just like, she knows that in her head, if she manipulates the situation emotionally and pisses him off enough, that he's going to go full vamp face, and there's not going to be any logic left in him enough to say no when he has her gorgeous neck just laid out right in front of him.
Killing me talking about her gorgeous neck. I mean, you're not wrong, but
I'm just saying. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like as her friend and someone who should know that no matter where my emotional like impulse would want to go to be angry at him, I don't feel like I could fault him because I would know in my head all the steps that she took in order to get us all here.
Mm-hmm.
And I would know that it was probably like 20% his fault and just the physical act of doing it, and 80% her egging it on.
Yep. And she egged that fucker
So
on. Like, she had all them
Yeah.
eggs from bad eggs, and she was throwing them at his ass. Mhm.
For
Yep.
real.
Egbert. Yeah, it's just not the case. Like I ended that statement with. I'm just like, if you guys had context to the situation, like y'all would not be saying all this. But everybody's fine. We're fine. The gang moves to go check on Buffy, and we find her having a dream appearing in Faith's studio home, walking into the main room, finding boxes of her things packed. I mentioned to you at this point, too, when we were watching the painting on the wall above Faith's TV. We even talked about it a little bit last recording.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big snake with a human's face on it. Like I never noticed the human's face to it, but apparently there is a human's face kind of like at the front of the snake. And I was like, okay, this is pointing out obviously what the mayor is going to be turning into. And it's interesting because it's been there in her apartment since she got the apartment. So once again, a little bit of a foreshadow action. A cat jumps onto Faith's bed, and Buffy asks who's going to take care of him. Surprise, surprise, Faith appears behind her, clarifying it's a she and how cats are supposed to take care of themselves. Buffy voices that she feels there's something that she's supposed to be doing as Faith drops a cryptic riddle to her as the sun's dawn kisses her face through the broken window frame.
Yeah. Miles to go. Little Miss Muffet counting down from 730. Great. Riddles. Sorry. It's my head. A lot of new stuff.
This is the part whenever I told you, and of course, due to spoilers, I can't fully elaborate on this, but I looked at you and I told you it was very important. Faith says Miles to go before we sleep. And if you remember, Buffy spoke that same comment to Giles in the prom saying, I get it, Miles to go before we sleep. Like talking about the Ascension, but we just want to have one night of fun at the prom, yada, yada, yada. Callback. As far as Little Miss Muffet counting down from 730, when we were watching, again, told you it was extremely important, and it is the biggest foreshadow for something that's going to happen later in the series. I cannot wait to talk about it and connect it, but as that breadcrumb and as I keep basically saying the same thing over and over again, but in a new way, this message is a prophecy, and it's the most important one in the entire series. It's something that, like, when it pays off, you're just like, oh my God, like the fuck. And I have to leave it there because I'll tell you. And I gotta wait till it's gonna land.
At least you're
honest. So I can't wait to that episode. This is that moment where I told you I was trying to open up the fucking callback notes and my computer was saying you don't have enough room on the boards anymore. I was like, fuck off. But I set for like at least a good 5 minutes writing in my callback thing. It's just the future stuff that I want to say. It's insane. But what I can tell you, and all of you technically, is that I have to credit this next part from Sarah on becoming Buffy, because she spoke on this during their coverage back in 2022 when they did this episode. And she broke this down, and I had never thought about this in symbolism before, and it's crazy. But she said, the cat is supposed to symbolize the spirit of the Slayer. Since Buffy's death in season 1, the spirit of the Slayer has been shared with 2 individuals, Buffy and Kendra, and then Buffy and Faith, with neither having everything required to be at their full potential, because it's now split between 2. Which is why Buffy learns a lot from Kendra and then from Faith, and like vice versa on both parts. They all kind of learn from one another. I mean, we see that as a big message of Kendra learning a little bit from Buffy, Buffy learning from her, and then obviously Buffy and Faith are like the mirror, shadow, dark, light, all that stuff this season. This exchange between Buffy and Faith results in Buffy gaining full control of the Slayer's inherent resources, which is represented by the boxes of items that are all over Faith's apartment. So it's representation, which I love. Buffy says she can't use it all, and Faith says it's all hers and to take what she needs. The idea is that the literal metaphorical assimilation of Buffy and Faith is here, and Buffy is assimilating with her shadow, her dark side, and Faith is with her light side in this moment. That's why Faith, when she appears in this, like I said, like she kind of appears as the better part of herself, as we spoke on before, which I have again in a moment. I'll say my stuff. But the idea is that Buffy takes what she can from Faith, everything that she's learned. And this works with that whole Yoon philosophy that we've been talking about, and with the shadow sides that we've been going into, like how it's not evil and how they're not to be rejected, but what we are to take what we can use from them and ignore the rest. Basically, like how we integrate the shadow, in spirituality, how you integrate your shadow. You don't run from it. You acknowledge it and see what you can learn from it, because it's obviously most of the time your subconscious is trying to bring up lessons for you to work with, so that way you can become stronger, more resilient in your future, be the better version of you, etc., etc. So in this, Buffy is taking the knowledge that she can gain from Faith and moving past that to ascend like it's her day, because she's taking all this knowledge that Faith's giving her so she can go like become herself again. And like, if you really think about it, this energy was split between the two of them, and now Faith's in a coma, so she's not technically the active Slayer anymore. I mean, she's still the Slayer, you know what I mean? But now Buffy is the one in charge, because there's not two Slayers operating, functioning in the world, because one's asleep. Like, quote unquote eternally. Very interesting. Like, I never knew that. And like, I love the idea. And I this is where like my mind started sparking even more. I was typing more on my callback sheet, because like the cat symbolism of it being the spirit of the Slayer, we'll see that again. So I love how it's doing all this interesting little foreshadowing connection that just makes sense and pays off way later. Either way, Faith comments on the broken window needing to be fixed as we see the cat transform with a flash briefly into her in the bed at like her comatose state, like wearing the hospital gown and everything, which if anything, if you're not picking up on it, that's basically saying that that's the Slayer's energy right there. That's Faith. Buffy asking about her, and she says that all the marks on her were healed. They'll fade, and we see the bloody knife flash the same way in Buffy's hands as Faith just did on the bed. And Faith gives her a piece of advice in defeating the mayor, and about his weakness, how it will be connected to his humanity. Buffy questions with a laugh if this is her mind or Faith's, and her laughing about how that beats her. And Faith tells her the time is drawing near, and offers Buffy to take her things, or at least what she needs, weapons, all the things, reaching out a hand to Buffy's cheek, asking if she's ready, and Buffy awakens from the dream in her hospital bed. She gets up and she walks over to Faith's bedside in the next room, all of a sudden knowing where Faith is. She's been asleep this whole time too, and she's like, okay, I know you're in the next room to me. But I love this scene because the way she walks in and looks at her, and we look at Faith, and I made a comment last episode, I made a comment when we were watching it, I was like, Faith's face is all fucking bruised up. It is fucked up. Like, she's got cuts all over her. Mm-hmm. Buffy's over here rocking a little bit of a bloody lip and a neck wound. Like, that's all that happened for her. Like, I don't know what's going on there. I feel like she should have had a couple more marks on her, because this just went toe to toe with another Slayer. But I like that she walks in here and she's just had this experience with Faith, and she kisses her forehead so fucking softly. I feel like it's like a thank you for that dream message, and for just knowing that Faith's okay. Faith is going to be okay. I say that because like the whole scene, oh my God, like it made both you and I emotional when we were watching it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't expect it to affect you like that. And I'm curious what was going on in your mind to kind of make you tear up. And I know like I had said something, which I'm going to talk about on my own part whenever I give my like take on it. But I'm curious if you just got more pulled into sympathizing like what I was feeling and the comments that I made while we were watching it, or if it's like the totality of everything that was going on, like the situation with the girls and stuff like that, or whatever, you know what I mean?
I think it's a lot of all of it, but I think it really pulls you into the moment when, like you said, we're seeing Faith in this good version of herself for that moment, you know? And when we've gone the last couple of episodes, just seeing in her before all this happened, she switches sides, she is killing people, she's just being reckless and ruthless and savage, and all these things are really not are flattering for people in general, but especially someone who is supposed to be protecting people technically as the Slayer. So it's just refreshing in a way to see her even momentarily in a different form that we once saw, but you almost forget about it because so much crazy, like, corrupt ass shit has happened. And then, of course, to be taken right out of that moment and to be kind of snapped back into reality, where Buffy wakes up and has that moment where she walks into her room and kisses her forehead. And it is just this residual energy of where we were at with the dream, but then to parallel that with where we're really at, with Faith being in a coma, with graduation still over our heads, with us not knowing what's going to happen, and with Faith having been a good catalyst to all of this kind of coming into fruition as far as helping the mayor achieve things, is like, I didn't know how to feel, you know, but I sympathize for Buffy because she knows better than anyone who Faith was, and the potential that escapes a person when they do something as corrupt as what Faith has done, which is switch sides. So I feel like for Buffy to showcase such a sentimental kind of notion toward Faith and to have that moment of affection just goes to show, again, all the things that we always say about Buffy outside of how resourceful and all these other things she is. She is selfless and she's compassionate and she has empathy.
Yeah.
So it's like she knows it's her own. I'm sure it's a little bit of guilt because of Faith being in a coma, but I'm sure it's mixed with a lot of the sadness that comes with letting the potential go of someone who you just don't know what's going to happen now, but you got to let all of that go regardless. So it just they did a good job turning it into, I think, the moment we would all want for her and Faith to have, even if it was just in this weird dreamlike state. But at least they didn't rob us completely from there being a little bit of a sense of closure there.
And I like that.
And it's not like we don't I still don't know where we're going, but at least it made it feel like there's less of a loose end emotionally maybe between the two of them. So I like that.
I like that. What was I about to say? I like what you kind of said. We've seen Buffy care about Faith and try to help her for so long. Like it comes with that selflessness, that compassion that she does have. And I like that because this is basically her saying like, okay, well, we ended up where we ended up, but I still feel for you, essentially, to sum up and, kind of say what you just said without saying it the same way. Like, I agree with that. I know I love this for the show. I said, this is like Faith coming back one last time as her better self, because she presents as more of the early on Faith that we saw like at the beginning of the season. And I really like that element. I think it can make Buffy feel a little bit better about what has occurred. And at least she is told by Faith essentially that she will be okay. Scar tissue damage, it fades. And she knows that she is in a coma now and not dead. So she doesn't have to bear the weight of being a murderer and having gone through, the deeper part into the potential of what a Slayer's darkness could be. I commented while watching it, and I said something to you because I got emotional a different way, and it's been this way this whole season in certain aspects. But Faith came here one last time as that better version and connecting to Buffy and helping her the only way that she could. As I've already alluded to in the past, like when I watch these Faith scenes, oftentimes it makes me think of my sister and how much like we embrace Faith and Buffy's dynamic as many personas as kids to play pretend and whatnot. But watching this scene as an adult, or like any of the scenes across the season, it hits me in a different way now that she's not here. And I commented to you while we were watching it, tearing up, because I didn't expect it to have that effect on me in the scene. And I was like, I looked at you and I was like, this scene really makes me wish that after my sister had passed, even though she was like on drugs really bad and she was like this horrible version of herself, almost that I wish she had come to me in a dream like this as the person that I knew back then. You know what I mean? Before that, the events unturned that way. And it connected me with the way that someone appears in your dream, not being the normal way, like where you just be like, oh, I thought about you. Like, so you were in my dream type thing. I mean, like to deliver a message to me or to say something as clear as day to where even if it's spoken in riddles, something that connected to us, or I was like a sure sign that this was not your typical showing up in a dream. My light's flickering. Tiffany's coming through, not the Demogorgon, but like it hits me in that way. And I'm like, I kind of still stand by that. I kind of wish that kind of happened. And honestly, if my sister had been able to like continue to practice, like she was very much into witchcraft a lot, like I am too. And I feel like if she had have stayed on that path, whether she was on drugs or not, that would have given her a little bit of this ability to do as such. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just makes me like see that. I'm like, holy shit. But it also kind of brings to this forefront, like for this season. And once again, how I've been talking about, like I've been relating with certain things and aspects, things have been happening in my life that kind of mirror some of the episodes and the themes we've been dealing with, the metaphors and all this other stuff. It's been present in my actual life, and going along this journey and actually seeing it and watching it technically the first time since my sister's passed. It's crazy to like watch Faith's journey and see that all the way back then it was like this odd, eerie foreshadow that my sister was going to go on a similar path to what Faith, her favorite character, kind of did. You know what I mean? Took the wrong turn, made the wrong decisions, suffered a lot of consequences because of the actions of her choices, and paid the final price. You know what I mean? That's insane to think about sitting in this day. And here I am, alive and well, living what I'm going to call right now my best life, because I'm happy to be alive and stuff like that. It's crazy. Like I get to continue to live like Buffy does. And, I mean, I wish my sister was just in a coma. Like, but that hits me in a different way. So, I mean, it's really interesting. And, I'm going to leave that kind of there in that way. But last thing about this part of the ep, like Buffy kisses a comatose Faith on the forehead. And Faith had previously kissed her on the forehead in Enemies after telling Buffy, like, you're not ready to be a murderer yet.
That's true. Yeah.
So Buffy returns that kind of energy to her. And, about the dream sequence in general that we just came off of, Joss Whedon, he noted, I think it was Buffy's dream, but Faith was reaching out in it. Like, he doesn't think that it's like a manifestation of Faith that Buffy created in her mind, as we do. Like I was saying, like a visitor or something like that. Like, he said that he really does believe that a part of Faith wanted to tell Buffy all the stuff that she said, which kind of backs up my thoughts on like Faith delivering this message directly to Buffy. And I really enjoy all of these elements because I've been speaking to this, like we started taking this turn with Faith, and we see her displaying this back and forth in her mind. Do I want to keep doing this? Am I capable of this? Do I want to be good? Do I want to be bad? I kept calling her Flippy Floppy because she was like always teetering on the should I, shouldn't I kind of vibe. And I have to agree with Sarah over on Becoming Buffy on what I found to be her final statement for this moment on their coverage. And I think this is a conclusion we all sort of come to. Sarah said, this confirms my theory that deep down, Faith is actually good and wants to do the right thing. She didn't have to tell Buffy that, in reference to the mayor's weakness. She knew that that would be the mayor's undoing. So she helped Buffy. That's showing Faith has, in her psyche, which is what came in the dream sequence. It's our subconscious. It's the deeper things we oftentimes don't want to voice. Because our mask that we wear, everything else, that is in the physical conscious. It's in our awareness right in front of our face. All that false persona that Faith had, that's in her real waking life, not in her dream state, not where her actual truth can come to the forefront. So I kind of found that interesting when you're talking about like shadow work and philosophy and psychology and all of this, how it wraps up into it, how it kind of throws that out there. And I was like, I still stand by that. Like Faith, obviously, like I said, in waking state wants to be evil and crazy, but at least something deep down inside her actually does kind of want to do good. And we've seen that in her as she's been juggling everything that's happened since Bad Girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Her whole life, all of this in essence as well. So, but I reckon I'll leave it there. Let's continue the episode. Buffy, now dressed in her awesome red leather pants, moves out to meet her friends in the hospital hall, them happy that she's okay, and Buffy asking where Angel is, and they need to get him, and also everyone else, because, they're like, he went home, he sent him home. And she's like, get him. She's like, we got to get everybody. And then she declares to them that she's ready, and they ask for what? And she clarifies, war. Dun, dun, dun. I like the little, like, build-up of music that, like, kind of happens, and it just, like, disappears whenever she says war. You're like, war? What the hell? Like, what the fuck is that happening? Over at the school, we pan up to the courtyard, seeing Snyder organizing rolled diplomas by the stage podium before finding Buffy sitting with Giles, Xander, Willow, and Oz, and Cordelia and Angel in the library, having told them of her plan, wondering if she sounds crazy. They're leaning into that, but it's all that they've got so far, and Buffy says that she will need them all on board for it to work, especially Xander, because, his past Halloween military training memories, etc., etc. He's very excited about this and brings up the rocket launcher, and she shoots that down as it won't be the option since it took a volcano to kill one of these ascended demons the last time. I love how he's like, ooh, rocket launcher? And I'm like, no, bitch, we did that last season. Shut the fuck up. Sit down. But also fun callback because Buffy used a rocket launcher one time. Can't forget that. Iconic. She is the moment. Giles thinks that this will only work if Buffy's actually able to control the mayor, and she informs that Faith told her to prey on his human weakness.
Faith told you? Was that before or after you put her in a coma? After. Oh.
At first she's like, oh. And then she's like, huh? What is happening? Like, they forgot about Buffy having her little dreams. Giles puts what that weakness could be on the table because Buffy is out of ideas, and Angel assumes how Faith will be his weak link, noting how upset he was after what happened to her at the hospital. It's very true. I mean, it kind of connects everything he saw in display while Buffy was taking a little nap, trying to act like Faith 1.0 instead of Faith actually being 2.0, the comatose version. Wesley comes in, slowly expressing how there isn't much time, and Buffy clarifies that the council is not welcome in this room. He moves to her side, saying that he is here a free agent and offering Buffy to order him and how he can help them. She likes this start and starts to divvy out chores for everyone. Starts, apparently, is in my notes. It's in my script. We cut between a short montage of her and also the mayor telling his gang of vampires at City Hall what will happen and when, letting them know that he is saddened that the vampires will miss his speech because it's supposed to be daylight from the part that he's given the speech. He's like, I've been working on this for 100 years. He wants the vampires. He's like, I think we can all reflect and learn something from my speech. It applies to everybody. Like, I'm dead. And then he also lets them know that people will try to run, and that's what they come in for as the line of defense. And they're really confused because they're like, sir, it'll be daylight. And he's like, clarifying to them that won't be a problem. As in-scene transition magic, we go over to Wesley reading out from a book, telling them about how apparently an eclipse will be happening during the Ascension, which will, put Angel back in the game because he steps forward and he's like, well, that puts me back in the game. And I'm like, well, were you going to be useless otherwise? Like, Angel talking about, I'll see you there at the final fight when the sun goes down at night. Like, I'm going to fight you as a snake. Something like Angel does not think through half the time. But he does. The mayor letting the vampires know that he will need to feed on some humans to sustain the change, which means no feeding on their part, or it's a trip to the woodshed. I love his little comment. He's like, it's a trip to the woodshed for you boys. I'm like, damn, he's gonna dust them. Buffy, Willow, and Oz speaking on how Xander is getting some materials for their volcano-like situation, and Willow noting this will be great chemistry for them to practice, which kind of like starts to put the breadcrumbs out there for you to be like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like chemistry? Like what are they gonna do? I still was stupid when I was a kid. I didn't get anything that was going on. Oz wonders who will, quote, for the first time I heard it this time watching, stoke it up. And Giles comments on how it shall be him, as it seems strangely fitting to do so. Makes sense later, but I was just so confused by this as a kid. It just went all over my head. Like, stoke it up, who's going to pull the trigger? Like, it's a fun way to say something. Buffy orders the gang to start reaching out to people as she leaves to get something that she needs. The mayor closes out the montage and his commentary to the vampires about what they will be doing, including how cussing will not be one of the things that they'll be doing. He's like, and guys, let's watch the swearing. Like, this motherfucker's about to eat students at graduation, but he's still talking about, oh no, can't be swearing, can't have no cuss words. Bruh. Around the school, we then see Xander pull Harmony aside to talk, and I love this bit. She's like, you mean in front of people?
I know.
I'm like, we got to remember we hate Harmony between last episode and this episode. And we also see Willow pull Percy aside to speak with him. Back over in the library, I wrote this little paragraph so short. We get the extremely awkward scene of Cordelia and Wesley packing up Giles's books in boxes. And we call it awkward because they get dramatic about him possibly leaving when all this is done, unless ... And then the two finally share a kiss, if that's what they want to call it. Wesley looks like he's never kissed anyone other than his mother, and Cordelia is rightfully turned off by his clear lack of experience. The whole moment is fucking cringe, and it truly,
that's so weird.
It truly helps to cement that these two will never ever be any form of couple, and her attraction to him is now in the past. If she had any kind of hard on, her dick went soft immediately. Like,
so true,
this shit fell off to the floor. Like, literally, it's so awkward. It just wanted us to know, as I stated, like, this can't be a thing, and it never will be. Spoiler alert. Like, it fed all into this. I don't know why they chose to do this. Maybe they had an idea for something else, and they were like, nah, we're not going to let this flesh out. We've been playing with it. So that way.
They just needed, like, Cordelia to have a distraction throughout the season. Yeah. And now that the season's ending, they're like, all right, time to do away with that.
I know, it kind of goes back into that thing where we're saying, like, Cordelia didn't have much to do this season. I guess, like, they were like, well, we'll make her like Wesley for a little bit. Like, because, I mean, he is somebody that she would like. He's charming. He is handsome. He dresses nicely. He clearly
she does seem like the kind of girl who would date like a little bit older.
Listen, you talk to me. You talk to me in an English accent, and I promise my panties will drop. Chris better be happy that he's with Martin, because I would have been asking for his hand in marriage when we recorded last episode. Just hearing him talk, I wouldn't even have to see him. I'd have my eyes covered, and I would still be like, "Can you marry me, please?" Hey, Chris. He will be listening, obviously. Either way. I thought that shit was like, it's the most awkward thing. Like, did you expect that at all? Like, to see them like make out like this and then have this whole like fucking outcome?
I mean, I was hoping that like eventually this bubble would burst for them, but I didn't think it would end with them like not really kind of mutually not being attracted to each other after that whole like awkward kiss, because he was kind of on the same page, it seemed. It wasn't just like her being like
Yeah, she didn't like turn him down. They were both on mutual agreement, being like,
they were both like, all right, have fun in England when you get home.
Yeah, for real. He's like, yes, anyways. And then they go back to it. But I love too, as a little bit of a foreshadow, like we've heard them talking about what they're going to supposedly do, chemistry, all this other stuff, but we're also seeing Cordelia and Wesley packing up Giles's books because he doesn't want his books to get blown up in the explosion. Most of these copies are his, like they're all demonic books or things on like, you know, whatever we've been finding out like about the monsters all this time. Those are all, I mean, there's some little bit of school books Peter up in here, like, but he's like, I can't have my library go away. He's like, I've got to take my library with me if I'm going to be strangely fitting to blow it up. Again, it is really strangely fitting, very fitting, not even strangely. Outside the school, Jonathan and Larry collect supplies from Oz's van to put with all the other stuff that they have been. And also, obviously, having been roped into what the plan is, they leave Willow and Oz behind to speak on how she's nervous once again for what's going to happen. And he assures her that they will make it through this. And then the two apparently panic some more in the back of Oz's van with not a shower in sight after to kill time before graduation. I say that very pointedly because clearly Chris was deeply upset by these bitches not taking a shower. And now they fucking in the back of Oz's van, like making out like in the van. I'm like, okay, graduation's next. Buffy comes into Giles' office having collected what she needed, meeting up with Angel, putting together weapons. He checks in on her and she claims that she heals fast like him and starts to talk business, but he cuts her off to inform her how he won't be saying goodbye. How after the battle, if they get through it, he is just going to leave. He asks if she understands, and with some tears in her eyes, she nods in agreement, halting any further convo. Because he tries to say something and she like puts her hand up. She's like, no, don't. Very dramatic. Again, Buffy, Angel, calm down. He does leave her and she takes this in before looking down at the item that she's collected, us seeing its Faith's bloody knife that she went to retrieve. I think that's so crazy because this motherfucker just like, she's in here trying to talk and like have casual, everything's fine. You know, you tried to like, you drank all my blood and we're good, man. And he's like, I'm going to leave. And Courtney's like, yes, this is what you should be saying, Angel. You're still on track. Like, bye. Did you want to leave today? Courtney's like, I got you a free plane ticket. Where are you going? Did you want to go?
I'm like, I packed your bags for you.
Yes, I got you. Freshly pressed. All your black.
I'm like, actually, I booked your flight to take off at sunrise.
Oh, shit, no, we don't want him dead. Courtney's over there with a lint roller cleaning off his black trench coats. I'm like, I got all the cat hair off of it from Faith's cat in her apartment. That should trip me out because I forgot that he did that. And she just walks in trying to talk to him and he just cuts her off and tells me, I'm going to leave. I'm like, oh, okay. Anyways, cutscene transition magic over to the senior class in their maroon caps and gowns, filing in to take their seats at the graduation ceremony as the classic Pomp and Circumstance march song plays. Song is so triggering because before I was a senior myself, whenever the band from school, and especially in high school, would go to the graduations, we would be the ones on our actual instruments playing these for seniors at the graduations. Yes, that was a whole thing in our high school. I don't know if they did that in y'all's high schools, but they had the band from the actual high school come play this for playing a tape recorder or a fucking CD player or whatever the fuck with the song on it. We were literally the live band. Snyder looks snide, we will say one last time, at all the students before him in true fashion, voicing snide congrats to them and how they've all proved more or less adequate. Oh, and don't forget to sit still and shut the absolute fuck up. Because that's basically, in a nutshell, what he says. He tells that one kid, too, to spit out that gum. Only I noticed this time around how it's Xander, because it clips over to him, and he's, like, clearly chewing on something. And I was like, oh, my God. Like, I just thought it clipped to Xander. I really never paid attention to him because it flashes away really quickly, too. But I was like, shut the fuck up. Xander was in there chewing gum, and he's, like, talking to him. I'm dead. I've said I'm dead, like, 18 times this episode, because this episode is killing me. He introduces their speaker, though, a.k.a. Mayor Richard Wilkins III. He takes Mike at the podium and starts his long speech. First off, how cool is it, though, that he says this graduation marks the 100th anniversary of the founding of Sunnydale? Like, it's been exactly 100 years ago that Sunnydale happened. And I know we learned he was, like, the one who founded it. He's been alive for 100 years. But this puts, like, once you hear somebody state that, I'm like, you hear it differently. I'm like, oh, I actually heard it. Or you just hear it, you listen. But to think, like, all these years later, a damn Slayer was sitting at his long-awaited ascension. He's just sat here all this fucking time. Like, talk about bad fucking timing, Rich. Like, the odds clearly were not in his favor. He's waited 100 years for this moment and planned for it. And now, like, the one time that he's finally, like, getting his way and it's the moment has come, he's got a vampire slayer chilling here. Like, what are the odds? You didn't expect that, but once again, Buffy, right time, right place, just like we talked about in Reptile Boy. I love how he goes on for a bit too, and Willow's sitting next to Buffy, and she's like, "Oh my god, he's gonna do the whole speech," and Willow's like, "Dude, just ascend already." And then Buffy like calls him truly evil. She's like, "Evil." This is like a fucking crazy mastermind right here. But also was like, how cool Buffy and Willow are seated right next to each other. I never paid that attention before, but obviously in the alphabet, like R and S are beside each other, like Willow Rosenberg and Buffy Summers. But I find it hard to believe, like, conveniently they're the two that have like S and R. That, like, I know Buffy's like at the tail end because she's Summers, so it's SU, but Willow's Rosenberg. There's got to be someone in that school with another R that's like RA, you know what I mean, or some shit. Like, are they all dead? Did they
Apparently
die?
Not. They're dead.
Like,
yeah,
I was
like,
gonna
say
whatever, but also kind of cute though. It's kind of like weird foreshadowing, just because their last names like paired them up together and they're best friends. But they also, if they had never met and they went to the same school, they still would have been sitting beside each other in graduation. That's kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
His speech turns a bit literal, and you can tell he's pulling from recent experience, or he just happened to write it and it still resonates.
It's been a long road getting here. For you, for Sunnydale. There's been achievement, joy, good times, and there's been grief. There's been loss. Some people who should be here today aren't. But we are.
Why he gotta look dead at Buffy too whenever he's like, some people who should be here today aren't. I was like, shady. The fuck?
Also like tantrum.
Calm down, sir. I'm going to put the end of the speech in here, but I like how his speech ends because he's like, nothing will ever be the same. And like everything he says in his clip too, it really does resonate for everything. I understand even why he wanted the vampires. He's like, you ascend, you become a higher person. Like, you move on from here. He's like really touching these students and giving a good speech for them. You know, what you would hear like a valedictorian speak at a graduation, or whoever your guest speaker is, like, to basically announce like this new chapter in life.
Journeys end. And what is a journey? Is it just distance traveled, time spent? No. It's what happens on the way. It's the things that shape you. At the end of the journey, you're not the same. Today is about change. Graduation doesn't just mean your circumstances change. It means you do. You ascend to a higher level. Nothing will ever be the same. Nothing.
But then he ends that, and I want to say always as a spiritual person, like, be talking about how I want to ascend to a higher vibration, like to my highest self and all that. But like, that's all the mayor is trying to do here. I mean, I know he's channeling the negative vibes versus the positive vibes, but all he's trying to do is ascend. So I ain't gonna hate on it. Like, I just really had to put that out there, because every time he said ascend in this season, I'm thinking about myself telling my friends, be like, oh yeah, my main goal in life and spirituality is to really ascend and blah blah blah. And I was like, what if I became a big demon?
Expand.
Yeah, let me be expansive. Let me say that 400 more times in this episode. Except not. Well, you know what does not expand? The sun, because it gets blacked out as the sun begins to fade, and everyone looks up to see this eclipse, as predicted, is occurring. And I bet you shit for shit, like, all of these students, when they looked up, they were like, okay, well, fuck. Buffy and her friends said this would happen, and now it's occurring. So I guess everything else they prepared us for is about to happen too. They're like, shit, this is really going down. You know what I mean? The mayor topples over with grunts of pain when this happens, screaming out into the mic, which we watch as he attempts to fight through the rest of his speech. Like, this motherfucker's still trying to talk. He's like, I had this whole message on civic pride, but I guess we'll just skip to the big finish. Whole thing. Dead. Because I gotta stop saying that. Watch, I'm gonna bring the whole full circle in a little bit. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna clip every time I said that, and I'm gonna roll my eyes in the back of my fucking skull every time I clip it out. And what now really looks like some awful, awful, awful CGI. We see his entire being morphing, his flesh expanding, ripping through his clothing and growing darker. His human body fully shifts away as he turns into a huge, giant snake with large mandibles, scary looking as fuck. He howls at the sky as the students look up at it. The parents, the faculty members, like, they fucking run quick. They are cowering. Like, they said, we got to get the fuck out of here. Like, that's, I'm just saying. Like, that was my season 3 tagline. Gotta say it 4 more times before the episode's out. That's what Angel's going to say when he turns around to walk away in the smoke. Okay, so just the mayor turning into this big old snake. we've been waiting on this the whole damn time for you to finally see, like, whether it's bad CGI or not, if you can take your mindset out of it and be like, this is really what happened. If it really was the embodiment of something real before our eyes, like it's supposed to be, even though we know it's TV, whatever. Like, scale of 1 to 10, how scared would you be? Also, did you expect he was going to like look like this? Did you expect everything to like occur this way? What did you think about this?
I don't really know what I expected. I don't think that I thought too much about like how he was gonna look. I feel like the way things played out is pretty much exactly on par with how I thought they would play out, down to him like doing the speech, ascending during the speech. What I wasn't prepared for was everyone being like collectively up to speed. Because I'm like, half the episodes that we're watching here, we're having a hard enough time getting just our core cast on the same page, doing the same thing that they're all supposed to be doing. So to get an entire student body, not just like prepped for this moment, but also so aware, you know, that they're like, if, like I said earlier, if someone earlier in the day walked up to me and was like, hey, so here's the sitch, I would be like, okay, so I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna pack my shit and I'm gonna get in my car and I'm gonna drive so fucking far away and I'm gonna pretend I never went here.
Bruh, you was in Anya's car like me in the trunk with the thing over my head sending videos.
No, I'm like in Spike's car with the fucking painted ass windows. Like, that's what
You're listening. I did it.
I'm also drunk.
way.
I'm also drunk.
Yes.
But yeah, no, none of what happened with the student body that was there is how it would have played out for me. I would have never even made it to graduation with the forewarning they got. I would have been out, like I said, out completely, out of the equation, out of town, out of the state, whatever. So I don't know how I would have reacted in real time, because my ass would have never been there had they given me any kind of warning. I would have been like, peace the fuck out, y'all have fun with that.
I would want to see how that turned out, what the fuck these people are talking about, because I like supernatural metaphysical stuff.
Or I'd be like off hiding like a mile away trying to record a YouTube video and like monetize off the trauma.
Perfect. Great. Love that for you. AKA
like I was just urbexing and I saw all this shit going down.
You guys, if you didn't hear it like beforehand, she really is just Anya at this point. We'll make sense of that. Maybe one day. We'll see. Yes, exactly. Well, I love it. That's just cool as fuck. Like, I mean, CGI apart from it, like back in the day when I was a kid, I ate that shit up. I was just like, okay, like that's cool as fuck. Like, now we got all this moment. But the mayor's gang of 20 vampires then arrive, and behind the kids at that, blocking the other main exit that they can get out of the situation that they're in, the students stand very still in place, looking up at this demon, more so staring up at this demon, because they're not just looking, they're just like, oh shit. And they haven't run off yet. Like, none of them, they look horrified, but they kind of seem at the ready, and you don't really take that in, like exactly what's going to happen. And you got this draw and suspense in the music too. Like I said, everybody's cowering and like also looking up at this big ass fucking monster before their eyes. And then Buffy yells out to the senior class, and everyone fucking disrobes, revealing that they've all got fucking crosses and weapons like axes, crossbows, and swords, everything under the sun that you can think of under those garments. And Christoph Beck's graduation day theme commands the fucking moment.
Now!
Huge flamethrowers are wielded by Larry and some other student on each side of the pews, the aisles, whatever you want to call them. It's not a church, but you know, like each side has those, and they blast that motherfucker with them. And he kind of like, you know, they're seeing like, they're already working on fighting him back. The mayor is probably in his fucking, he's like, what the fuck? Like, his whole day is shit for shit ruined. But obviously he probably still thinks he's got, you know, the upper hand since he's on the upper realm. He's ascended. Xander commanding the first wave to ready their weapons and fire as they all raise fucking various crossbows, harpoons. Willow's got one of them, and they shoot, piercing him in various places too. And he's like wailing out, screeching, screaming. Awesome. They all reload, and the snake mayor nabs up one of these male students and chews him the fuck up. So sorry, we did not know who you were, but rest in peace, poor little dude. Snyder calls out from the sidelines how this is simply unacceptable. some students begin to run off in fear and being stalked by the vampires that are out there guarding. Like, I used to think those people were attacking the vampires, but I think these people that ran off, they got chicken shit scared and they decided to run. Like, but they didn't realize that they had the yes, that was you. And like, obviously the vampires start ripping them apart. You hear the wails and the people getting killed, like thrown around and stuff like that. And Oz calls out the issue, and Xander affirms Bowman got the ready. Oz and a slew of other students at the back line facing the vampires all dip arrows in kerosene, I'm assuming. Xander orders them to fire as they've lit the fucking things flaming. They're not flaming. They're the flaming arrows Joss Whedon said he just had to have. And I'm excited that they did have. And then they begin shooting the vampires with them. Some connect with the vampires, like a couple fall to the floor in dust. At that point, too, I think that's whenever one of the students gets flailed onto like the other one. I don't know if he got kicked back by the mayor and he falls into all the other students. Buffy tells them to fall back and stands behind the Bowman. And the vampires begin to run off to avoid the arrows, but they are met with surprise and halted by Angel, Wesley, Percy, along with various other students who now defend them from leaving. Angel leading them to step up to the vamps as they begin to duel them. The whole fucking shot is so cool. I love the pan, like it the way the music just does it, and it kind of like almost like the fucking Evil Dead, like whenever you're moving through the woods and stuff, that zoom up to the people, and like the way the vampires halt before you really see them too. The vampires like, oh fuck, like we thought we were about to get the fuck out of here, but no, we're not. Like, so cool. And Angel just starts kicking ass, which is my favorite part. I love so much that you laughed out fucking loud whenever Wesley goes to run up like he's going to take charge, and then all of a sudden he meets a fucking fist to his throat and face in 2 seconds.
He is the most useless.
And falls to the ground. Like, fun fact, Alexis Denisov thought it would be funny for Wesley to go out 2 seconds after the fight started, so they decided to let that occur. So because the actor who plays Wesley said that that's what he think what would happen to Wesley, they were like, you know what, you're right, that would happen to Wesley, so this is what we're gonna do. The flame units run out of fuel, and sadly, when Larry goes to grab a new weapon, the mayor's snake hits him with his tail, sending him high up into the air. When he lands, we hear a nasty crack, and this is where Larry's life comes to an end. I know, R.I.P. They gotta kill the gay one. I thought the gay people were supposed to survive horror movies. Like, no.
I know, right?
Ugh. Literally dead. Snyder down below, peering up at the mayor, yells up to him how he is displeased with this decision.
This is not orderly. This is not discipline. You're on my campus, buddy. And when I say I want quiet, I mean...
Before he can complete his sentence, he is eaten whole by the mayor snake and marked officially the second Sunnydale principal to be eaten in the series. Like, for real. Like, everyone whoops and hollers. You don't really expect Snyder to die. I know you were saying like there was a looming kind of energy there, but like, the holy fuck, we're so happy this happens because this guy's been a fucking dick all 3 seasons of this show. It's so earned for you to get yours, motherfucker. Like, literally, this is me to you right now, like middle fingers up to the sky, like fuck you, Snyder. Like, you deserve this, but also you're kind of like, damn, you just got eaten. That sucks. I don't want to get eaten.
I
Something
know.
like that's awful, but it's
He
so
did.
fitting, and it's also just so great. Like I said, because rest in peace, you know, Principal Flutie. Like, the both fucking people that were principals during this reign of Sunnydale High, at least the last few years, they both got eaten by a fucking demon or a monster or whatever the case. I know it was hyena students the last time, but regardless, it was a demonic entity. That is wild. Those vampires, realizing that Angel is beating the fuck out of a lot of them, they turn to run and yell, you know, get the kids. And when they start to rush them, they realize the kids are already charging at them with stakes. They all blur together in like this huge sea of people, and they're all going hand to hand. Harmony is quickly grabbed by a vampire and bitten into as she screams out. And then Harmony's life comes to an end.
Poor Harmony.
By Harmony. Like, once again, though, the people that are dying, Snyder, Harmony, like, Larry was kind of a dick when we first met him in Halloween, like, trying to, like, you know, be disgusting and toxic masculinity to women. Obviously, we know he was compensating for his homosexuality with all those acts, but we grew to like Larry, so we're sad that he died, but I'm not so sad about Snyder and Harmony at the end of the day, you know? But it also is kind of interesting that Harmony fucking dies. Jonathan swan dives at vampires, screaming because he's fucking Jonathan. He's like, I'm fucking like, you know. He's like, I have a reason to live. Angel continues to kick ass while Xander hollers out stressed orders to the left flank. I love it because he's like, Justin and John, you guys are on the right flank. Like, no one's listening to it anymore. Everybody's just like a free for all. They're like, all right, every man for himself, like type vibe. Then we see Cordelia stake her very first vampire on the show, and we all cheer at our team doing the fucking damn thing. Cordelia begged, please let me do something. I've never killed a vampire on this show. And Joss Whedon decided, I'm going to let you kill a vampire on screen. So they gave her this moment, which is super awesome. Like I never paid that attention. It makes this scene so cool for her because we've never seen Cordelia fight back. She's usually like the damsel in distress in early season 2 and season 1. She's the one kind of like Daphne Blake from Scooby-Doo getting kidnapped and shit like that. And they're having to save her. Or the one that's just like not caring. She's on the sideline. She's over here whittling Buffy snakes and giving out, comebacks all the time and clapbacks and fucking hating attitude. She's drinking a haterade, all the things. Like, so cool for Cordelia to finally get this moment. And Buffy screams out a deep hey at the mayor, who peers down at her just underneath him. She's wielding Faith's knife, and she taunts the mayor with it so that he will chase her through the school, which happens just after she calls him a dick.
You remember this? I took it from Faith. Stuck it in her gut. Just slid in her like she was butter. You want to get it back from me, Dick?
He smashes through the halls, destroying everything in his path, acting like Cordelia driving here in season 1's finale. He smashes through the fucking walls and stuff, and I'm like, damn, well, this is like Cordelia in her car. They just use the same shots and just replaced the CGI with the car. Like, dead.
Basically.
Literally. Buffy makes it to the library, running through to the stacks and making her way to the back. The mayor smashes through the library doors and its surrounding wall, which is crazy because he takes that moment. We see him kind of like headbutt the wall, and it's very... It carries a certain like symbolic energy that this is where the gang all used to hang out, and he destroys it. And this is also his final resting place too. He dies on the actual Hellmouth itself, like right above it. Because we know the Hellmouth is right below this. It's where the Master's blood pool is, all the things. And it's just interesting to see those fucking words, library, Library, like smash to the ground when he goes through it. And he takes a look around him before muttering out, well, gosh.
In his boy.
Realizing the whole room is lined with a various lot of explosives. Like, there's fucking barrels in here. There's fucking like dynamite. Like, Willow, I get where the chemistry comes in now. Willow rigged all this. Like, her and Xander with his like military knowledge and her like her ability to like really crave and like utilize science efficiently. Like, brilliant minds. Everybody had a great part in this. But the fact that this motherfucker goes, well, gosh. The way he says it too, I'm like, this motherfucker can talk still.
I know. I thought the literal same thing. I was like, come on, dude.
Listen, they'll see it in the clip, like, but whenever we watched it, like, some time had passed. They had already started blowing up the school, and we're seeing it explode everywhere. And Courtney all goes, this motherfucker said, well, gosh. Like, it hit you like a whole minute later. I was laughing. But like I was saying, Buffy crashes through the window out onto the back lawn where Giles slides in the detonator switch, setting off a chain of explosions. The high school goes up in flames as we hear the mayor's snake howling inside, surely dying, the whole school continuing to explode. A fiery crash through its main entrance, sealing its fate, which is so cool. You see, like, with the Sunnydale High sign, like, the glass and everything just blow out. Like, Jenny Calendar's ghost is released from that window that's up above it that she got her neck snapped in, like, whole thing. Later that night, the fire trucks have contained the area and put out some of the fires. The smoke's still going like crazy, though. Wesley is being carried towards an ambulance on a stretcher. So funny. He's like,
So
can I get a little Advil for the pain? I need some ibuprofen, something. Like, it's so funny to hear him whimper. It's like, all you got was hit, like, but he's got a whole, like, neck cast on and, like, trying to hold his neck in place like he got a fucking severed spinal cord. Like, talk about scoliosis. Buffy and Xander walk around as she appears to be searching the area, and Xander kind of clocks that, and he confirms that he knows that Angel made it through the fight, but he guesses he took off after. He then leaves Buffy and is replaced with Giles, who comes to check in on her, but she's very much not functioning on higher levels at the moment and has arrived on the simple terms of fire bad, tree pretty, because, you know, Giles is trying to say all this stuff that's, like, meaningful, and she's like, I don't think I understand really what's going on. Of course, that comes in a second, but she's chalking it up to that, and Giles congratulates her on a job well done and pulls her well-earned diploma he managed to snag for her, handing it over, awarding her shining graduate. Such a cute moment too. Like, I like how he's like, I know I said that earned diploma, like, he physically tells her, he's like, Like, after everything you've done, after all these 3 years, after this big battle, like, we've come out as the victors yet again. You fucking earned this diploma after everything you've had to go through, because you haven't been able to be a star student because of being the Slayer. Like, that was really what set you back. All these instances, all the trouble that she's been getting in it was circumstantial, all dealing around her duty and her calling. So beautiful. He moves to go laugh at Wesley and attend to his whimpers, because he's like, I'm going to go check in on Wesley and see if he's still crying. Buffy senses something from behind her, and she turns to see Angel standing in the distance behind the fire trucks. The two share a final look at one another, a quiet acknowledgement. Angel turns and begins to walk away as Buffy watches his silhouette fade away into the smoke clouding the area. A nice little send-off. I like this moment myself. There's so much said here, so much energy felt, especially, like I always say, as a Bangel stan, and knowing like what's to come next, knowing everything, knowing he's leaving to go to his own show and what happens over there and stuff like that. It's like all that kind of flashes before my eyes in this type of moment. But, you know, like I said, Angel's got the fuck out of here. He's gone. We move to the opposite side of the street facing the school. Buffy meets up with Willow, Xander, Cordy, and Oz. Cordy snarking about how this was not so fun. Willow awarding them all shining Slayerettes for kicking some demon ass. Before taking off and getting some much needed sleep, Oz voices to them all that they should all take a moment to deal with this. They survived. Buffy noting it was one hell of a battle, and Oz clarifies, no, not the battle. High school. Oz voices again as they all look on at the school a second more how they should take in this moment. And then, you know, a half second later, they're done and they all turn and walk away from the school. It's really funny how they do that. They're like, and we're done. They exchange casual convo about how that was so cool. Willow questioning why demons even bother coming to Sunnydale anymore. So cute. Like, we've seen this in the past, them walking away from everything that they've done. We pan away from our Scoobies down to the ground where charred debris scatter the sidewalk, drifting over onto the street at a half-burned yearbook with a cover that reads, Sunnydale High 99, the future is ours. We fade to black, and here endeth season 3 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We did it. We're at the 2 hour mark. I know, right? I wrote my notes in bold. I said, and my gay ass wipes tears from my eyes. Because I started crying immediately at this. Like, it's such a, like I said in the beginning of my intro thoughts, just seeing it pan down onto the yearbook, it like leads you to know that they're walking away. Like what they said, like they took a moment. I love Oz's little final moment, like quote and stuff like that he kind of says, like, not the battle, high school. Spoiler alert, that's one of my quotes for the episode. But when I got into writing themes in the metaphor, it really kind of struck me because, like I said, I cherish these little years. And to go ahead and get into that, the finale is the moment season 3 has been building toward, where the emotional, psychological, and symbolic threads all collide, and the ascension becomes the metaphor for the terrifying leap into adulthood. High school has always been portrayed as a kind of localized hell, but this episode turns that into something massive and undeniable. The future is a giant, monstrous unknown that feels too big for teenagers to survive, and yet they do it by stepping into it together. The mayor's transformation works beautifully as the exaggerated version of every authority figure who insists they know what's best for you while hiding something far more controlling beneath the surface. All year he has been presented himself being the clean, comforting face of structure and guidance, and his true form reveals what the show has been hinting at, that adults who promise safety cannot protect you from the parts of life that you have to face on your own. The moment Buffy uses Faith to destabilize him shows how she understands her shadow counterpart is still part of the story. Even unconscious, Faith remains the unresolved part of Buffy's own identity that she isn't ready to face head on, but she understands that darkness well enough to move through it. It's about accepting that darkness doesn't always disappear just because you want to evolve past it. The senior class rising together becomes the emotional payoff of the whole high school arc. For 3 seasons, Buffy has fought for people who barely understand what was happening around them, and here they finally step up and claim their own agency. It's not about them suddenly becoming warriors, it's more about the metaphor that you don't cross into adulthood alone. Graduation stops being just a ceremony and becomes the moment everyone accepts the reality of the world and chooses to face it rather than hide from it. The destruction of Sunnydale High seals the thematic message that you cannot carry your old world into your new one. Sometimes the things that shaped you have to be burned down so you can finally walk forward without trying to divide yourself between past and future. Watching the Scoobies stand in the wreckage is emotional because it's symbolic of everything that they've outgrown. What remains are the relationships that survive the fire and the version of themselves they've earned through every choice this season forced them to make. Buffy and Angel's blood moment becomes the final metaphor for their relationship, very intimate and painful, but necessary, and it forces both of them to acknowledge what they've known for a while. Their love is real, but it can't grow with them into the next phase of their lives. Saving him becomes the last act of that connection, and Angel walking away at the end is not rejection, it's more acceptance, that becoming who they're meant to be means letting go of the versions of themselves that they were together. Finally, season 3 begins with Buffy running away from herself. It ends with her standing in full acceptance of who she is, what she's lost, and what she's capable of carrying moving forward. This finale is about the fear of becoming someone new and the courage it takes to survive and do it anyway. The end. All right. Final version of Buffy fun facts for season 3. That explosion scene was filmed at 5 a.m. in Torrance, California, where the outdoor scenes had been filmed all those previous 3 years. That explosion was so huge that it woke up so many of the town's residents. It broke windows, it set off their car alarms, and as a result, the town refused to allow Buffy to film there again. So this was the last time we see Torrance in this area be filmed on location, because they were like, you guys cannot come back here. But that's a fun fact. The mutant enemy zombie, the logo that comes about at the end of the thing going grr, arg, he appears with a black graduation cap on his head at the end of this episode. Charisma Carpenter said, obviously, like I said earlier, that she wanted to stake a vampire on screen, so Joss let her do so. And the reason I'm like regurgitating that is that this is also Charisma Carpenter's final appearance as Cordelia on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She does not return to the show. Yeah. If you think about it, Cordelia had grown out of this group and wasn't utilized as much in season 3. So they really had nothing more to do with her on this show. So, you know, just so that way you didn't think she was coming in hot in season 4 and in the future and you being like, where's Cordelia? She's not going to be on the show anymore.
Oh my god, that's sad.
I'm sorry.
Well, why didn't they just kill her off then?
I know. That's what I'm saying. She was expendable. But it is kind of sad because, like, there's this dynamic that just won't be filled by her, like what she provided the show in ways right now, like watching it, you know, without knowing perspective of what happens in the future. You know, that is what it is. But that's not me fucking around with you. Like, Cordelia's never on Buffy the Vampire Slayer again.
Dang, that's crazy and sad.
Yep. Pop culture reference: after being thrown across the room by Angel, Mayor Wilkins says, it looks like somebody's been eating his spinach. And obviously this refers to the cartoon character Popeye the Sailor Man, who gained his super strength by eating spinach. And then let's take a look back at the episodes that foreshadowed what was to come this season. We've already mentioned the snake painting in Faith's apartment, but if you think about Lacronis, the snake demon that was going to eat the babies in band candy, that was prefiguring the mayor's plans. He's going to eat children and turn into a big snake. You know, the carrier in Choices, who brought the box of Gavrok, you know, before getting his fucking chest shot up with a bow and arrow and his hand cut off, he wore snakeskin boots because we see him step out of the car with snakeskin boots on. And he's also, I've commented on it, he has the snake tattoo all across the fucking forward head of his head or his face, foreshadowing. Revelations prefigured the plot points between Faith trying to kill Angel and Buffy fighting her to save his life, because remember, she like blocks the stake from him, and then she's like, you know, Gwendolyn posted up like, Faith, you're an idiot, blah blah blah. We remember, we were there. But it's interesting because, like I said, like it all kind of calls back to Revelations. That's the first time they fought. This is foreshadowing that these Slayers are going to be up against each other this season when you think about it from episode 7 through the rest of the season. Yeah. And then some of the other elements, like them smashing through Angel's doors in that episode to go outside and be fighting right before she gets called an idiot, like that happens again in their final fight. It gets smashed through the window and they take it outside. And then finally, the last one, at the end of the harvest, Buffy walks off with Willow and Xander, noting how maybe on the bright side she can still get kicked out of school. And Willow suggests, well, you could blow something up. They're really strict about that. And here she does. We can get into our final slays.
Final slays.
Graduation, blew up the high school, big snake, dead. I would say dead one more time. All right, what you got for quotes this episode? Because I don't want to steal all yours, because I have 400 written down.
400?
Yep.
Okay, my first one is where Cordy walks into the room and she's like, I demand an explanation. And Xander says, for what? And she says, Wesley. And Xander says, inbreeding?
Is that the end of your quote?
Yes.
So listen, my first quote is Cordelia to Xander when he jokes about Wesley, and her replies, "So very funny. Any minute, I'm sure to laugh." So that worked out.
I guess that plays into each other perfectly.
Literally, it's the literal next line.
I thought it was sweet, and this is one of my quotes, but I thought it was sweet where Willow's talking about feeling guilty, and she says, well, things are so terrible and everything's coming apart, but in some ways it's the best night of my life. And it's just so on brand for Willow, because as we know, like, she's never going to be able to enjoy life without feeling guilty for something, rightfully so, given the circumstances. So she's not being irrational, but I just thought that it was sweet that she was kind of acknowledging the parallel and how she's
very mindful
her day. Yeah. And like you were just talking about in the fun facts, I really like the looks like somebody's been eating their spinach quote. And I liked when Xander goes up to Harmony and says, Harmony, listen, I need to talk to you for a second. Harmony was like, you mean in front of other people?
It's so funny. It's so fucking funny. It was like, of course, Harmony, like, damn, but like, she's so on point. It was like, she ain't changed one bit. Like, Cordelia don't even say shit like this anymore. Like, one.
That was also funny because we just came from the episode where she's like, you know what? I wish we would have gotten to know each other better, to Willow, and then she's basically like, fuck you to Xander.
Yeah. Oh my god. My ones that I have on here, like, I know I burned one of them. I can't remember which one it was, but I like when Willow was like, was that before or after the coma? And Buffy's like, after, and Willow's face was funny. I like Willow saying Angel is delirious and how he thought that she was Buffy, and then Oz is following that up with you too, huh? That's one of my favorites for the whole episode. It's so funny. I like Giles whenever he's talking to Buffy before she regurgitates the fire bad tree pretty thing. He's like, there's a certain dramatic irony attached to all this, a synchronicity that borders on predestination, one might say. I like that, not necessarily as a caption or a quote, like specifically, but for what it stands for. Because he's saying like the dramatic irony of blowing up the school, like I said, in Buffy full fashion, like blowing up the fucking school in general. Like, Buffy had to go out this way, burning something down, like, so that, but also the dramatic irony of everything that's been attached to this, like you said, like how this, like them coming to the school, them doing all these things that all led them to here. It's all like been part of a, like, one sink after into the other. It's all like, it was always supposed to happen this way kind of thing. And I feed into that because I love sentiment. And then my final quote is Oz, whenever he's like, guys, take a moment to deal with this. We survived. Buffy saying it was a hell of a battle, and him saying not the battle, high school. And once again, you know, the whole metaphor for 3 seasons, high school is hell. And these poor fuckers really went through it. Willow, Xander, Oz, Cordy, they all got lucky with 9th grade. Like, first of all, that they did not die with Buffy not being there, being in fucking Sunnydale. How they made it through grade school with the mayor planning this the whole time while they were literal infants. You know, like, if he was supposed to give a Cronus like feeding, like, that could have been Xander, Willow, and Cordelia, and then damn bassinets like getting stolen from the hospital. I'm just saying. But also like how Cordy was low-key right. Like, everything did change when Buffy came to Sunnydale, but she was definitely, as we saw, changed for the better. Like, the whole town was and everything like that. She helped them be able to give this statement, I survived, only in a literal way in this town. So I really like that. That's why I like so much about the close of this, because Buffy made that difference. A little bit of the, like, a subtext for the season, like we talk about themes and metaphor, part of the theme of this season could really be that Buffy matters. You know what I mean? Like, what her place in this world does, like, just like the prom, it really brings the acknowledgement, all of that stuff. It's, Buffy's important. Shining Slayer, who'd you give yours to?
Everyone.
Me too. I wrote the senior class, duh. Like, yeah, everyone, literally. Like the collective. I could give everybody their kudos for every little pinch and piece of it, because everyone came together to put this together. So, but obviously the senior class, because they're all just regular students. Like, you know, everybody else, even like Willow and Xander, like, yeah, they're normal too, but they already have the upper hand and they've been dealing with this for 3 years. None of these other motherfuckers have fought vampires or done any of this other stuff. So, like, the senior class as a whole banding together was mine.
Yeah, no, and I, as the last and secondary, I put Giles for getting Buffy's diploma.
Aww, that's a shining watcher. What was giving you the Wiggins this episode?
So many things. The mayor in both his regular form and non-regular form. The mayor again, where he was trying to kill Buffy with his bare hands in front of basically the entire hospital staff and whomever else was there. Angel looking like Jonathan while thinking Willow is Buffy.
Not the sweat.
And Angel damn near drinking Buffy to death.
That's a lot of Wiggins. Damn. You couldn't have brought those for your final weekly wigs. Your final season Wiggins.
Rest assured, one of those will at least be on there.
Your final Siggins. That's funny. I chose Wesley and Cordelia's kiss just because, like, out of everything, there's not too much to really get wigged out on. I mean, I like the bite sex. I like every element of everything else. You know, last episode we obviously had the Wiggins of like the spiders getting eaten and stuff like that. So that was some kind of gross to like pull off of. But like, it just makes me uncomfortable to watch them kiss. So I was like, let's give me the Wiggins. But then my second one that I wrote down was the mayor calling Buffy Angel's whore. I was just like, ew. We don't call bitches sluts and whores these days. That Slade moment for me and possibly you, I don't know. I had to choose Giles and Buffy blowing up the school together. It's a duo moment for me, for Slade moment. But I also wrote down Snyder getting eaten, the students unveiling the weapons underneath the graduation robes. It all Slade. This final battle, Slade.
Yeah.
Do you have anything different?
No. I basically put the entire student body basically being ready for war underneath their cap and gowns. And then I just followed up with what I just said about the Slayer of the week as Giles's moment where he handed Buffy her diploma because she doesn't get to walk away empty-handed after all the shit that she's not just dealt with the last few years, but just on this specific day. So, yeah.
I just like saw a scene in my head from something else. That's going to be so cute. Okay. Slayer predictions we will do in our season 3 wrap up. So you better tune in to find out that because it's not going to be here. But other than that, you know, oh my God, we're done. A moment in time. Okay. Well, as we just said twice, we're done with season 3's episodic journey, everyone. Like, thanks so much, honestly, for coming along with us and listening to all 22 episodes of this season. Of course, we also want to hear from you as per usual. Do you love the ending battle and all the students standing together? Do you like that we end in true Buffy fashion, her blowing up, aka burning down the entire school versus just the gym? Are you glad Snyder got eaten like dear old Principal Flutie? Do you like the ending scene with our Scoobies? And does it pull on your heartstrings for our high school years with the show like it does for me to be over? Let us know. We will be back soon with our season 3 wrap-up, so stay on the lookout for that. Otherwise, we will be on break after that airs until Friday at the 13th of March when we will journey into Buffy season 4 and Angel season 1. Until then, we'll talk to you all next season.
Well, that was the most fun you can have without having any fun.
What about the part where he kicked some demon ass? I didn't hate that.
Here.
You guys want to take off? I think we've pretty much done everything we can. I'm for it.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I'm okay. I could use a little sleep, though. If someone could just wake me when it's time to go to college, that'd be great.
Guys, take a moment to deal with this. We survived.
It was a hell of a battle.
Not the battle. High school. We're taking a moment. And we're done.
School's done. That is so cool.
Why do demons even come here? I mean, don't they know magic?
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Buffy on Revamped. Remember to join us next week for a new episode release as we continue our journey through Sunnydale. We also would like to hear from you, so share your thoughts. Discuss with us your perspectives on this or previous week's episodes by following us on Instagram and sending us a DM at revamped_rewatch podcast.
Or by emailing us at revampedrewatchpod@gmail.com. Additionally, we will be choosing one of your messages to shout out in an upcoming episode release. And if you happen to love abandoned places but prefer them vampire-free, check out Echoes of Elsewhere, an urban exploration podcast. where I interview urban explorers about the eerie spaces they uncover, anything from haunted schools, forgotten mansions, and tunnels that probably don't lead to the hellmouth. From history to mysteries, tips and tricks of the trade, I dive into all things urbex. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Until next time, the Earth is definitely doomed. This podcast is dedicated to the Buffyverse, to its fans, and my sister, Tiffany Dawn Pearson.